to this match with Bleed, another Titan of the MYSG server with this particular roster. As I mentioned again, having Scary in that particular in this particular group, Crazy Guy as well from Vietnam. This is gonna be incredibly fun to watch because honestly, I feel like this is such a powerhouse move for Bleed just to get all of these amazing players in the roster, especially that we have this quote unquote off season happening as of the moment. So I'm very excited to see how this unravels. Breeze, Pearl, and Icebox. I think this is perfect maps for the MYSG region. I'm not entirely sure about Pearl, but we did see what Paper Rex was capable when we saw them in Champions. So something could be similar here with the Louvre and Bleed roster. For Breeze and Icebox, this has been, I believe, a staple for the Bleed roster. So this is something to definitely watch out for moving forward into this one. Now, big questions, I think, looking away from Bleed is what is going to be happening here with the Louvre roster in particular. I think they've also picked up a couple of players in their own end. They also were able to, I believe, pick up Red Co, who has been with the Alter Ego roster previously. He was also, I think, one of the more notable players from the international region. I think he was with TSMX beforehand as well. So he's also garnered a lot of NAE experience. So that could be something that we could be looking for here that Louvre can bring to the table, a different play style. But of course, Bleed is also known with that because they've been playing with international talents from the EU for a couple of months now. So there's also that kind of I guess just a little bit of a splash of a different region for these two MYSG rosters.
Oh yeah, but here's the thing, right? Even if you look at the transactions, Bleed has more or less tried to keep things as stable as possible in terms of roster, in terms of lineup, in terms of the support stuff as well. Sure, there are a couple of transactions here and there, but on paper, it looks like such a one-sided affair.
It really honestly is. So, tournaments like these is a perfect metric of gauging how well that gap is, or if there really is a gap, right? So, with that being said, looking at the compositions coming into Breeze, ooh, very interesting to see the Cypher be picked up by DXN here, while on the other hand, it's about, I think, as much as we could say. I think Crazy Guy has played a lot of Initiator in the past. Scary is known for his Astra, as well as you mentioned, I believe, the Omen. So the double controller, double initiator here is going to give them a lot of grasp into the site. The only big problem, I think, with this particular play style is that Cypher could have a lot more power. This roster, imagine if there's so many smokes that's going to be pressed, by both sides. Cypher's in the site itself. He has a couple of his tripwires set up. This could be difficult, especially for Durian to get something in the offense. So yeah, maybe the decision to go for that Cypher for Dixon, other than being a comfort pick, could actually work in this scenario because there's just so much utility that's going to be thrown out by Bleed that it's going to be confusing. But we've still yet to see what happens, of course, since we're still waiting for the game to start.
Oh yeah, but looking at the maps, right? The first map is going to be Breeze, then we have Pearl, and the decider is going to be Icebox. So
yeah,
did you actually expect all of these picks? Because I feel like these are all. I mean, look, these maps are strong for both of these teams, but at the same time, I feel like no convention, like no vanilla map, nothing like an Ascent or a Haven or a Bind. Are you not surprised?
No, not at all. I feel like in Southeast Asia, Icebox, Breeze, Haven, I think is our staple maps here. So I feel like seeing these particular maps be drawn out is typical. Ascent, I think maybe earlier this year or mid of this year is when it became the most popular, and then after that we started gravitating to Icebox and stuff. I'm not entirely sure why, but I think a lot of the teams, especially the duelists, just prefer the layout of the land if it was again a little bit bigger, because I think a lot more of these duelists have an understanding or are very used to having teammates that can properly set up utility for them, so they don't really have to digest the entirety of that big site like in Breeze, right? So good utility usage and everything, I think, has shifted the favored map selection for these particular teams. So I think it's fine that we're seeing something like this.
Understandable. But, well, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, with game number 1 of the second best of 3 Blade Esports versus Louvre on Breeze. Louvre starting off on defense, Bleed on attack, Darion on jet, Scary, Jay, Crazy Guy, Redla, we are Wera, Redco, DXN, Bryce, and Shun. Listen, Asura, I mean, I know the answer to the question that I'm about to ask, but who do you think is going to win, and what's the scoreline, at least in the first map, that you expect?
Bleed 2-0, I feel.
I
feel like I'm going to get called out by Louvre fans and Louvre themselves. I'm so sorry. This is just, again, my prediction about how this goes. Little setup on the side already, but quick little use on that snake bite immediately incapacitates Bleed for the moment. They do decide to go in onto elbow here where nobody's going to be checking it. Shun is actually backing away, maybe a little bit aware of what could be coming through halls. But that smoke from the Viper also makes him a little bit more cautious of what could be coming in. Although Bleed, I think they're second guessing and they might pierce through on double doors. Where there is a three-pronged approach here for Louvre on the defense. Nice catch on the camera. We'll spot the aggression from Durian. He could be caught by Vera here. Vera. Oh, good damage. Follow-ups. Beautiful red lane JH, though, with the refrags, and it's only the two of them to remain. Haven't planted the spike just yet.
Oh, yeah, but Sun at the point that was phenomenal because they knew they didn't have a lot of information. They needed to go in there and get some sort of information going in the favor about that recon, that exposing both these players. Viper is going to get taken out. All comes down to kill in a 1 versus 3, but that is not going to happen. Louvre playing it to perfection on a defense, and of course not overcommitting, not playing on impulse. I mean, of course there was a lot of utility being used to his speed, right? But the moment Bleed decided to go towards mid to way, they realized, you know what, something's off. They're not committed to the side. We have no information whatsoever to work with, so might as well just get some information towards A main. But what happened in the process is that we had the Jet inside, and of course, they could sandwich the player side and come up on side. So worked out wonderfully in their favor, and I have to hand it to Lou. The way they played was pretty good.
Absolutely. I'm so surprised again that I'm seeing Redco play as what was it? Be as a player right now, because I think it's been a while since he's actually handle the helm of a mouse and keyboard and not just the headset and microphone, right? Because again, he was partially a coach. I think he was also streaming on Twitch for like a good chunk of months. So now seeing him with Louvre definitely is a pleasant surprise because he's back on that helm. He always like posts these amazing clips on Twitter and stuff like that. So again, I do want to see what this man is definitely capable of when you give him that ability to do so. And with this composition for Louvre, even though I'm not as reciprocative of it, they do have, of course, that edge of just them having very incredible players scrapped up into this one amazing team where I did mention, again, former TSM coach, as well as, I believe, former No Namers players on the side of Louvre, which is a team that has beaten, I believe, Bleed and maybe Paper X in a game or so beforehand. So they do have what it takes, but we'll see how that goes.
They do have what it takes, but the overwhelming majority, at least all the viewers, think that Bleed have it in bag. But for now, Lou is proving them wrong and proving them wrong in a glorious manner because Bleed is left with 2 players and 2 players only. Of course, it was an eco round. There's not a lot to do, but Crazy Guy is trying to creep up towards mid, where I might just get taken down, but he's expecting this, so shouldn't be a problem. As a Spectre as well, close range, absolutely strands, but Crazy Guy getting the better of him with timing. Needs to expect one more player on side, but he wants to go in for the plant. Does he have a backup? He does, but he actually has enough time to plant the spike. The short dart coming in will not do any damage whatsoever. Still surviving, but the knife is going to disable him. Crazy Guy finding one more, still keeping the hope alive with 12 points of health and 1 versus 2. Can he pull it off? Nope, that is not going to happen, but they still dinks the Viper, if I'm not mistaken. That he did.
Absolutely did. So still good damage in the eco round here for Bleed. Just kind of testing the waters and seeing where the defensive capabilities of Louvre lie. I like how they aggressed a lot on mid, but didn't really just push one-dimensionally, you know, guys, let's go immediately on tunnel and start bursting into the B side. No, they started to just try to what's the word here? Feel the heat of where the defense of Louvre was gravitating towards the most and started reacting to that. Granted, though, the past 2 rounds, they've only really charged through on double doors. But you know what? If it does give them plant on the spike, even though they don't have these rounds going into their favor, it does give them that economic damage and good eco control for themselves. As we see that smoke being pressed in, look at how Louvre just goes in for a 3-man push on mid. I'm getting taken back by my prediction here, man. Louvre is doing amazing right now, especially with Vera at the helm, pushing in on mid aggressive. 2 more to remain here from Bleed's attack, and this is a buy round that has just been dismantled so quickly by Louvre, and Bleed is struggling at this point to find some map control.
Oh yeah, but this is also surprising because this is what should have been the first buy round for Bleed Esports, and I would have expected a bit more of a contest, but Lou catching them off, got aggressing towards mid, getting those picks, and now Scary wants to jump down, wants to drop down to Wentz, but Redla had to find a pick over there. If he did not, then there's no point. Scary will try and save his gun up. There's no reason for him to commit. But what a round by Louvre. They've only lost 1 player. And Bleed, on the other hand, have lost players. They've lost so much cash. And if they can hunt down the Astra as well, I feel like this is going to be the perfect ending to the first buy round. At least for Louvre, because Bleed is not going to have a lot of cash to work with.
Well, regardless of... Scary's just way outnumbered here, excuse me. Not really out in the open, but just outnumbered per se. So it's the hunting party for Louvre. They have a nice little bank built up on, and they just want to take away these rifles as much as they can, because you never know when your opponent can do some massive damage on things. Scary's been spotted. He's going to have to try to play this. If he drops down and shoot, this is going to be terrible. So he needs to hold the angle here on Halls. It's somehow working. Nobody's going to be able to chase him down. Could find a fadeaway on Vera, but not going to happen. Quick little replay shows us DXN. Kind of bit off more than he can chew, not waiting for his teammate to hold on and get that 2 versus 1. Unfortunately, not going to happen, but round still goes to Louvre.
Round definitely still goes to Louvre, but Bleed. Not off to the best start. Not the start they would have wanted. Not a lot of cash to work with, but they've decided to force it this time around. They have 2 rounds to work with, a Guardian, Marshall, and a Sheriff. On the other hand, Vera is going to try his best to get that early opening with the Operator. The question is he going to find a pick towards mid? I don't think so, because there is no presence towards mid, but Viper wall towards A, and looks like it's going to be a quick execute.
That tag the Cypher, that's going to be huge, because at least that'll stop the Cypher cage for now, or trap wire for now. Okay, that's going to help him out a whole lot more. Okay, anyways, there's the retake, but look at this. Scary and Crazy Guy popping some heads. 2 versus 1. Spots out the last. Bryce is alone, trying to jump up. He's going to be quick enough. Drops down, actually, but Scary swift on the Retribution frag. And immediately, quick little push on the trigger. And DXN holding too long on the A site by himself. A little bit disconcerting when, again, that Cypher does require all of his utility up and running. The Blade just ruins all of that.
Well, the Blade does ruin all of that, and Bleed picking up the first round in a rather surprising manner, at least to me. But Louvre, do they have enough cash? They do, except for Shan, who is going to be on a Sheriff. I'm not quite sure what the idea is over there, but all he's going to have is a Sheriff to work with, and Bleed definitely making that quick, aggressive A-take work. Darion, in the meantime, I feel like once again they want to do the same thing, but this time around they might not commit to it. I'm not sure, but the spike is actually moving in. This is pretty puzzling to me. I mean, sure, they have people outside A main primed up, but is it going to be a split?
Doesn't have to be. They can always just push all the way through spawn and then B. That'll separate the Viper from his teammates. Redco trying to be cheeky here. Will be able to find one. All these smokes, man, allowing them to get access on the back of the site. So much coverage. Although Vera and Bryce finding a couple of their own. This is going to be huge. They do separate Vera. Retla finds him. 2 versus 3. At least DXN's neural theft gives him some information that everybody's going to be playing on the site for the moment. Retla's going to be playing himself on B main, while Durian and teammate will be holding on onto the site itself. The separation is marvelous. Durian now just trying to get a little bit more info on how close Vera is, seeing if maybe there's somebody on the flank with that KO blade. There it is. Darion's finding some contact. DXN, very close, very silent. Oh, DXN. No, he was looking because of the audio cue, unfortunately. 2 versus 1, one in the front, one in the back. Darion, you know he's off of it. Tries to challenge. Varus, aim is good. Now picks up the Guardian. Does he know where Redla is? 3, 2, 1, swing, and that's going to be Bleed with the round.
Bleed coming in with their own, coming in clutch. That Viper making sure that the team gets around that they need it so desperately. But Scary was in such a good position, used the Nebula to perfection, played around and had that first pick. Couldn't find the second, but look, finding one over there is job well done because the team can safely make their way towards the B side. And this is the reason I was puzzled, right? Because the spike was in halls. There were 3 people in halls. There was presence towards A main. What should have been an A take turned out to be apparently A to B split.
I guess the thought process of that is, if it works that they get the pick on, the player maybe on switch or bridge, it can translate into an A take. But if not, it can just go B. I think the big problem to that was there was no trap from DXN on halls, where usually when there's a sentinel, right, you'd put a trademark, the alarm bot on that particular location. This time, it's not really going to be possible. Durion, though, getting a little bit of information, getting tagged, though, by Art. Could be a little bit scary. DXN hitting some shots. That snakebite, Durion can't really push forward just yet. And this could give an opportunity for DXN, but unfortunately not. Where are all these frags coming from? Vera finds a shot with the blades, and this is turning incredibly difficult. JH to remain. 3 versus 1. Viper is low, and the round continues.
The round continues, but Bleed, they're stuck in 1 versus 3 with JH. Is JH the only person surviving? Has a spike as well, does have enough time to work with, but he has been hurt. He needs to find a pick, isolate these fights into 3-1v1s instead of a 1v3, but the recon is going to be a problem. Oh, he can just wait it out there. But Redco has been spotted. So as JH, does he know there is a backstab coming? He's expecting it. Bryce, if it peaks, it will get... Ooh! That was so close for Bryce. Shouldn't have survived that fight, but good for him. He peaked at the perfect time to avoid. Now, of course, there was a bit of luck involved as well, but
yeah,
at the end of the day, you got the kill, you got the run, and that is all that matters.
Because of that, Vera's now gonna have himself that operator to utilize. This is gonna start becoming a hassle for Bleed to deal with. Vera's shots have been... I believe he did have the operator a couple of rounds ago, but now he's going to have it once again. Darion now using the Blade Storm. Creeping in up on elbow once more. They do have a Viper Smoke here. That's going to give them a little bit more free space to just start pushing in. Problem is it going to be a good idea, especially now that Redco and Durion are going to be on the side itself. There we go, the challenge! But Redco's finds him so much damage, and Durion's just not going to have that impact. Unfortunately, this leaves Crazy Guy out in the open to dry out, and Shun will fling him back into the abyss. 5-2, and Louvre is just looking so phenomenally amazing in this particular first map.
It's almost mind-boggling to me that they're actually being this dominant. Nobody would have seen it coming, maybe except for you, because you did have a little bit of expectations from Louvre. Personally, for me, I haven't seen them play a lot, right? These players, but yeah. I have seen their history. I've seen the matches that they've played, and what the general sentiment was, at least amongst the audience. Bleed should have been the hot favorites. Maybe they still are the hot favorites, but it doesn't look like it. Louvre is clapping Bleed right now.
And when you really say those like words in that order, I think about other things, but you're absolutely right. Sorry, production. Anyways, definitely agree. There has been a struggle with Bleed here in just trying to figure out what the approach is, right? I think they try to do too many different approach as of the moment, and it hasn't worked just because they really haven't forced, I think, Louvre's utility for the most part, right? Whereas defenders, where you're going up against defenders, you kind of want to bait a bit of util. It seems like it will be a quick little tactical timeout here, as they're just gonna, I believe it's gonna be Bleed. It's gonna talk about what's been happening, what the issue is as of now. But again, I think everybody's just too hot-headed, you know, just charging it to the side, not really utilizing their utilities properly. They had that one good setup play, and then after that, they're just keep charging it and see what happens. But Louvre is so prepared for it. I mean, these guys have been playing in the same region for a long time now, so you know that they at least understand what the capabilities of Bleed are.
Maybe not. Who knows? But I think we'll find that out at the end of the match, right? That's all. That's what I always say. Look, you can come in with a preconceived notion of how a team plays, or maybe you've studied them enough. Sure, props to you. But at the end of the day, none of that is going to matter if you can't win the map and the match. So that's the reason I always like waiting for the end of the match. But for now, Bleed Esports, they're stuck between a rock and a hard place, and Vera is going to find that pick on a crazy guy. Is going to make it work. He's going to make it happen. Gets that initial pick. The Hunter's Fury, the initiator, at least one of the initiators out. There's no recon dot available, so no information whatsoever, except for the 0 point, which is going to disable all the players on, at least inside the area of effect. But for now, Vera just waiting. He's patient. He still wants to peek around the corner. Now, he doesn't have to worry about a main because he knows there's some presence still. At least 2 players.
If Redla spotted that Vera had his Tailwind active, they might re-hit A this time because of the fact that they could just, I guess, play for the trades against Vera. So that could be the possibility that we're hoping for here for Bleed. For now, this very tight grip of a defense is making it so difficult for Bleed to find anything as of now. There's the Blade. Vera needs to be pushed back. The dash he spotted, and he's just going to play on fence for the moment. I love how he's just playing the close range with that shorty. And they can't really get close enough to deal any damage whatsoever. JH, though, how does he time these? Vera finds him. And that spike, oh, it's going to be pushed all the way through B. While Scary's going to be pushing all the way through spawn. Is he going to wait before he finds contact? Well, he didn't. Finds 2. Can't use the wall or a star. And Redless is going to be trapped at the back of B with a Marshall in hand.
All they need is one more pick, and they're right back into the round right now. But the problem is Scary is going to get overwhelmed by Rare and his teammate over there, along with the flash drive coming in. But Redla needs to find one more. Can he, though? That is the question. They find one with the Marshall, but might just get taken down. And Rare making the most of a 200 credit shotgun. That's it. Making the most. Yeah. He literally had an operator to work with, but guess what got the most amount of value? The shorty.
I mean, if you think about it, shorty has twice the lethality that a operator has because it has 2 bullets in the chamber, not 1. Right? Because, you know, when you shoot the short, it's like pack, pack, but with the operator, it's like pow.
Fair, but it doesn't even have range. But the bottom line is it was a joke. It was meant to be a joke.
Yeah. Oh, that long silence. Yes, how I missed all these long silences.
Yeah. Shorty's actually less than 200 guess. That just makes it funnier in my head. But, well, Vera in the meantime is going to try and aggress out towards A main and see if we can find one more pick. Like the last round where he took down Crazy Guy, which was so crucial, but they still managed to get the spike down, which is going to allow them a lot more cash. They do have the null command available along with all the other ults. Null command, you have Cosmic Divide, you also have the Hunter's Fury and Viper's Pit. The question is, how creative can they get with this one? Because they can go in for a quick execute, but I feel like they're slowing the game down a little too much. Wanted to go in for the default 1 towards B, 1 towards A, 3 towards mid. They don't have any info. That's the problem. While trying to not give away any information, they don't have any meaningful information to work with.
True enough. Crazy Guy just misses Vera right here. He's gonna get shot. Gotta check your right sometimes. That is going to be the trade for trade. Durion now not going to be spotted by that recon. It's absolutely important for him. As you mentioned, lots of use on utility. But Spike has yet to get planted here. I think they're waiting a whole lot more for something to transpire. Viper's Pit, basically everything is going to get poured in terms of ultimates, just so that Bleed can have a much better control of the situation. Still 4 versus 4. Null command can be used by Louvre here as Redco gets closer and closer into the abyss itself. Oh, what a read. He's going to use that molly. That's going to flush out Scary here. And JH still has a flash, but he wants to go for that hard contact. Waits it out first. There it is. Tries to jump around. And this is just a game of cat and mouse. It seems like Bleed are getting the one up for this one. And it's now down to Retla and Crazy Guy for the most part. Clock is ticking, but this is turning into such an expensive endeavor for Bleed. Not only in the creds, but also in the resources. And JH can't even get away. Bryce will give it his life, but Louvre has so much to just repurchase their equipment.
They did. They had so much to lose over there in terms of economy, and they did. Bleed, even though they did win the round, I don't feel like the cash is going to be in the best shape possible, and that's exactly what's happening right now. Look at the amount of credits they have left. Practically none. But Louvre are in the driver's seat. If they win this round, by the way, it's going to break their economy once again, and Bleed is just struggling up against Louvre right now because the picks, the way they've been playing, is phenomenal. And again, I'm going to say this again and again and again. I did not see it coming, but it's great. It's great to see some competition. It's great to see the fact that Louvre is not going to be pushed away. It's not going to be pushed around. They're like, you know what? We're here to win as well. And we will damn well make sure that we give you a chase for it. We give you a run for your money.
We're seeing so much of that happen for Louvre here. Ooh, I like that flash setup here for Bryce. No threats just yet. There's so much happening in through double doors right now. Red Co just gets back into cover and just steals so much damage. This turns into an awkward endeavor right now for Bleed, as there's so many prongs, angles of defense that Louvre have set up. They do have some control of the A site, but it really is pretty scuffed. Crazy Guy is waiting. Who's going to be the chicken of the two? Still trying, and it's going to be Crazy Guy. Even though he was spotted, it does create a lot of vortex of power right now for Bleed as they try to push right in. Hunter's Fury has been utilized. DXN can't really push through because of the Viper's wall, and we have turned ourselves into a 2 versus 2 once again. Drone gives a bit of information, crucial information, mind you, as Louvre starts in, or gets in closer and closer toward the post.
For now, they need to start walking in once again. They need to get these openings. It's so costly for Bleed every single time they come close to win these rounds, but Sean is going to be the one leading the chart. They don't have a recon available. They do have the neural theft, but they need to find a corpse or at least get a kill. But that is not going to be necessary because Crazy Guy has been spotted. The question is he going to go for it? Crazy Guy just waiting it out. He's been spotted for sure. Crazy Guy wasting all the time in the world that he can, but he's going to get spotted. The XN needs to push in and he needs to find the pick, but Crazy Guy playing it to perfection. I feel like he's going to pull it off. Yeah, he is going to pull it off, and wasting so much time, right? There's only one way to play that round, and that is to push away. But the problem is the person holding the angle, of course, has all the information in the world to work with that you are actually going to be pushing. So not always easy to win these, and Crazy Guy showing so much composure in that 1v1. It's incredible to watch.
What's also incredible about Crazy Guy is that risk play that he did against Bryce. They were just right beside each other. Just, again, the Viper Spits separating them. If he didn't get that, if he lost that, there would have been no chance for Bleed to be able to just secure any control of the site itself. Farah, how does he find these picks as he just charges down on mid? Granted, he did have that flash to create some openings, but so quick on just the crosshair placements and everything. And now it seems like Louvre, they're challenging Bleed Esports, who love to charge in from mid here, who love to go in for these shenanigans. Bryce, though, might not know, or rather, Vera might not know, they're right above him on Among Us. It's going to be Scary waiting. If Vera finds, I think Scary knows. If Durian finds this, here's the timing for the peek. They've taken down one. Oh, Scary is just trapped 2 versus 1. He's holding on, though, hitting shots, beautifully executed. Can pick up the spike? Nope, not. Gonna have to set up the smokes first, or wait for Crazy Guy to come in. Well, they spotted the drone. He's creating a lot of commotion here, and that does give Scary the ability to pick up the spike and start moving it to the A site.
Oh yeah, but Bleed, once again, just slowly but surely clawing their way back in, even though these rounds are close, but they are winning them. That is all that matters, and now they have a commanding scoreline. They need to plant the spike down. Crazy Guy being super aggressive, trying to cut off that rotation, at least take that initial fight. I feel like that's a smart move, but for now, if he gets taken down, that is a massive problem for Bleed, but his position is pretty good. They will have a recon down. I hope he doesn't pull it out because he will get spotted. Will probably get taken down as well, but I think he's smart enough to not pull it out. Sean casually just walking in. Is he going to expect this? I don't think so. Nope, that is not going to happen. Now the recon dot comes into the picture. DXN, I believe, has been spotted. Yes, indeed, he has. He has been spotted towards mid. So they know, they have the information. I'm not quite sure what Crazy Guy wants to rotate, but I believe he is expecting a save, so he wants to cut off the rotation. He wants to get that pick, which he does. Ooh, very smart. Pretty smart.
It's a hard read. Knew exactly what was going to happen there. But gotta give it to Vera, just absolutely hitting those shots. But speaking of hitting those shots, Scary in the most stressful situations. Like at that point, I don't think anybody normal would have been able to squeeze their way out of that, right? Scary just manages to get through. But it's still very much neck and neck here from what looked like to have been a Louvre stomp at the start with 3 rounds in. Seems like Bleed not backing away from a fight, not backing away from this challenge. Ooh, set up just to break the tripwire. I like that.
Well, for now, Bryce, once again, look at how close he is. He might actually get the drop. He does! Almost wolfing it, but he will find the ping. I love the aggression. I love these mind games. I love the layers with which these games are being played out. So Crazy Guy this time around being taken out. 3 rounds in a row, he was the man for the team where he clutched these rounds out, made sure the team got the spike down, and had enough cash to work with. But this time around, he won't be alive. He won't be there in the server. DXN, though, this time around, trying to peek in. We're not being able to connect those shots. There you go. He's going to find one. His teammate will find one more. We're going to get taken down as well, and he doesn't want to stop. Bryce is going to fall prey to his Blade Storm, and Redco as well is going to fall down with Blade once again. Winning rounds one by one, and suddenly all the expectations that we had from Bleed are turning out to be true.
Definitely. It took them a while to get adjusted to their opponents, but it definitely was a back and forth struggle. Make no mistake, guys, Louvre have done a fantastic job in creating a strong start, a strong initial pace, right, against Bleed. Unfortunately, of course, Bleed is also a team that can adjust to what Louvre are doing. And unfortunately for Louvre here, I think the struggles with the Cypher is showing itself as of now. Just as long as you know where the Cypher set its traps, even if you don't know where the Cypher is per se on the side itself, right? Because you don't want your Cypher to get hit by the KO blade to deactivate the utilities. It seems like Bleed are adjusting and trying to play around it so that they just don't really have to deal with it much further. And DXN, from the start of a good couple of rounds where he gets the first blood and starts to survive longer into each and every round, unfortunately, he's been getting picked off more and more here. I think Durion's starting to just adjust to the setup that this Cypher does give, because not gonna be honest with you, Mamba, not a lot of people actually know how to play against a Cypher for the most part, because he's not really a typical pick in any games that you usually play into or watch, right?
True. But for now, what I really want to focus on is how Bleed starts off the second half, right? Because they did struggle with it quite a bit in the first one. If they can manage to get a good start, I feel like Lou might just get pushed on the back foot and start losing control over how the game is being paced, how it's being played out. But at the same time, Lou has shown some resilience for sure. Out of the last 3 rounds, 2 out of the last 3 rounds, they've managed to bring them down to a 2v2 or a 1v2, and then lost it out. So I feel like Lou is still very much in the game, of course, even though it might seem like Bleed is slowly but surely picking up momentum. It's going to be closer than what most people expected it to be.
Or maybe I'm just expecting it to be too close at this point. Hold on. Let's stop the laughs for now, because JH and Durion underneath you already finds 1, 2. Bryce is doing so much damage. Finally, Scary stops the bleeding, but they've lost 2 of the defenders right now on the A site. Crazy Guy's gonna have to back away. Scary opening the door here, trying to see if spot anybody, but unfortunately, Steven didn't have any map control. And Louvre presses on the advantage. Retla gets spotted. Vera respects, but it's still a 4 versus 2, and Crazy Guy and teammate have both been honed in. Where are they placed at? Beautiful flash. Now Vera is going in for the kill, does have a dash. Retla repositions, only has a classic in hand. It's a very terrible weapon to try to make anything happen with. And you kind of see that happen in that mid-range fight with the XN.
Well, Louvre, they're not going to let them go that easy, are they? They're not going to make their life easier either. Scary did try his best to get those picks, but then it was Vera who came in clutch. Got that pick on a crazy guy, and then DXN along with his teammate, of course. 1 vs 4 is never easy to win. Bleed Esports, once again, on the back foot in the first round. They've lost both the pistols, if I'm not mistaken. And that spells trouble, because look, they were not able to manage the economy that well because of the fact that they were being taken down to last 2 players every single round that they won as well. So Lua has done a wonderful job in keeping their economy in check, but look at the aggression from Bleed towards the B side. I like this. I love this, as a matter of fact, which is going to give them a lot of information to work with. But that wall is a problem. They'll have the control of A side, free control of A side for that matter. The question is Bleed going to go in, or are they going to just wait it out to get some exit frags over there?
Probably the exit, right? Unfortunately, they're going to have to try to break that tripwire, and Bryce is already looking at the flank here. Oh, it's tagged. Gonna have to try to play safe because that Vandal's pretty expensive. You still don't want to drop it. Scary's been neutralized, excuse me. Crazy guy's the only one to remain. Getting close. Right click on. Classic is pretty sick. And he's just making it so expensive. You only think 2, but it's gonna be 3. 8 to 6. Louvre still get the round. Bleed, make him pay for it. Just a little bit.
Well, they can, but crazy guy just cracked, right? The moment he found his hands on the gun, it dished out so much damage to the opposition, which is going to hurt them, by the way, because this was not the bonus round. This was literally the second round after they won. So that is going to take away from a lot of cash that they could have potentially saved. But at the same time, they do have a full buy Bleed. Look, I like this matching 0 creds on 4 players, so they literally went and bought everything they possibly could. But Darion, along with Scary, holding A. But the question is this going to be a fake? I feel like they might just sell this fake with Cypher still holding towards B.
Concealment. Can I use that?
Oh, it's going to be a commit. I think just going to have that one player to hold the flank. Crazy guy does take away Vera, but the damage has been done. Gonna wait for JH and teammate to start coming in. That's gonna be Retla as well. Thrown just for a bit of that information, but again, just the shotgun plays for Louvre here. The quick draw into the site. Bleed aren't able to react fast enough, if not correctly. And this is forcing Bleed to go in these post plants very much injured. Recon dart and flash being utilized, and that spike is just planted in perfect condition, in perfect position to just ruin the lives of the post ban here for Bleed. Excuse me. DXN coming in from the mid side, but Redless hitting shots. Oh, getting challenged, and Bryce hits it. Does he have time to have it? Not at all, and Redless not even going to be able to save this. Retla was hitting it, but unfortunately, just so many angles of delay for Louvre. Basically, again, ruining the lives of Bleed.
What a shot by JH, though. I mean, you saw his aim literally snap onto his head and then expecting the trade to come in. So a lot of awareness. Bleed absolutely beating down their opposition to the last man standing and taking him down as well. But just couldn't buy enough time for them to defuse this bike. Of course, the snake bite was there, which was going to delay it even further. But Bleed's been doing a wonderful job at keeping the opponent's economy in check, doing the exact same thing that Louvre did to them. The problem is it started to get late. They need to make it happen in a round or two, otherwise it's going to be extremely difficult for them to make a comeback.
Vera's still connecting those. Nice recon dart to follow through. Crazy guy. This could be nothing. This could be nothing. Vera still gets away with bloody murder on A main there. And now Bleed Esports back to the drawing board. Already, Bryce is already going in for the big flank, and he's about to find 2. It's 1, gets the other, and he's not done. Redla finally shuts him up. Unfortunately, the damage has already been expended, and Crazy Guy's the only one to remain. Marshall and a dream, but Vera opens the door to the final kill, and Louvre have pierced through once more, 10 to 6.
But to be fair, I don't think Bleed had the best of weaponry to work with either. Or unless I'm mistaken, or I'm tripping. But Crazy Guy trying his best, right? Again, he had the Marshall to work with. He got the pick towards mid, just couldn't survive long enough. That was a problem. For now, Bleed finally will have weapons to work with. 10-6. They need to make this count. They need to make this operator count as well. Get those initial picks and try and slow them down as much as they can. But the Viper Spit coming to picture over here, which will possibly buy them some time towards B, or maybe to stall that B commit, or even, as a matter of fact, push them towards A. So they've started aggressing towards B even after the Viper Spit was executed. So they have a lot of information to work with, and Darion expecting them to be towards base.
They heard a lot of commotion outside of B here, so I don't think he's really that afraid of being flanked from halls. So he's just straight up looking at the spawn. Oh, almost able to get a second one. This could be trouble, though, because somebody could push through double doors, but Scary is actually holding that particular angle. Vera's already pushed up all the way through elbow. Scary, I'm just trying to see if anybody's going to be a bit cheeky, but his overpush might be the cost of the mid control for Bleed. Unfortunately, that is the case. Thankfully enough, Retla's still here. His mushroom of a Viper Spit, if you can see on the minimap, is still there. Broccoli, whatever fruit or fungi you want, we'll take it. But this still gives a lot of mid presence for Louvre. And they do have 30 seconds, so they got to decide now if they want to push and where they want to push.
Isn't broccoli a vegetable? Anyway.
Yeah, I said vegetable and a fungi.
Oh.
So, you know, vegetable and mushroom, yeah.
Never mind. Bryce, in the meantime, is just going to wait it out. A Viper Spit counter, a Viper Spit. I'm not sure what the idea is over there, but the X10 gets that pick. Redla, in the meantime, trying his best to get that pick. Will finally actually get it. Where will get taken no shot as well. Redla, what in the world is going on? It wasn't Redla that got that pick, it was Darion.
Shrewd, though, but
yeah,
the two of them.
He just snapped on him.
Yeah. I mean, ooh, just look at that. And then this one. Ooh, sick. That was close, though. I wonder what was going on the head of Crazy Guy if he just really wanted to play delay, because he just wide swung on like 3 people pushing out on tunnel there. Maybe he wanted to give a chance here for Retla and Durian to deal the damage while he delayed as much as he could. Now they know that there's an operator or Bleed. Usually it's all on A that he plays. Durian trying to get closer. So, like, this is so confident from Durian. Not even a prep on the tailwind. Already looking, finds, backs away. And Scary just right behind him, helping him out just in case. Bryce has gone full control of halls. Could open up switch, but only has the Spectre in hand. So his long-range damage not going to be too hot. But if he can provide some bullets from a different location, from a different vantage point here, Mamba, that could at least help Louvre start to push right in. JH, at least now, I think they moved Durian away because they want JH at least to be able to utilize his utility as he starts rushing in. He's going to get devoured by the fragment. And it's a beautiful call here for Lou, but the damage is a little bit too much. And now we're just down to Bryce once again. Was he able to pick up a proper rifle? No, but he's just still hitting shots as he just runs to try to run left and right. No, never mind. He got himself a Vandal.
30 seconds left.
He did get himself a battle, but is it going to be enough? It is still a 1 versus 3. Let's not forget that. He needs to go in for the retake. The spike is still down on the A side. They need to pick it up. But I don't know if Louvre Bryce realizes that this is a take. I'm assuming he knows that because he's still checking around. The spike hasn't been planted yet.
Yeah, and the spike's just way out of position, Durian. Brother, it's way too pricey. All right. Smartly just gets back into proper cover. It's a little bit too much. It's okay. We all experience things like that, and this is Bleed starting to, I think, understand the pace at which Louvre plays. I don't think it's even the reads that is even problematic for them anymore. It's more of them just, oh, this is the speed at which they play. Let's just play our own game as well. Because, you know, the quick shuffle where Durian got the shot on A main here, backed away and started going for B. Usually that's what you want your operator to do, because you'd think that, oh, Durian's hitting his shots. Why not just stay at the site? Why not just hold the angle? is saying that's going to be good. But if you think about it, an experienced team can always just ruin your utility, ruin you with utility, and you just want to kind of mix up where the one-shot, one-kill threat is with an operator. And even then, right, JH, as I mentioned, had the utility to just defer to any rush tactics as long as he wasn't what was the word, disabled by the opponent's KO blade, or rather because they didn't have the KO blade, I think, because Redco was knocked out. So really good decisions for Bleed. Just those teeny tiny bits of adjustment, I think, is what is giving Bleed some edge here. Of course, Louvre still have the advantage with 2 rounds in, but they're starting to really struggle in terms of that cred.
That they are. I mean, Louvre for now, I think they'll just wait it out, take it slow. They have 2 more rounds to work with until the situation's equalized. And Bleed, on the other hand, once again, like the first couple of rounds in the first half and in the second half, right, from the pistol on to the first spy round, they struggled in the first half and in the second half, and now finally are looking like they're in control, and especially on defense, right? So if they can consistently keep getting those picks and keep pushing them back, it should start getting easier. It's almost as if I'm stating the obvious, but once again, right, we keep going back to the smaller details of the match. It's not about fancy executes. It's not about fancy retakes. It's always about those small moments in the map or in the match where the game starts getting changed.
I do like how the change is working for this one. Okay, I think this is going to be a tactical pause. Need to clarify with our amazing production, though, just to clarify if it is a technical. But if it is going to be a tactical, I can only assume that it's Louvre that have called it because of the fact that they are starting to slow down the pace of these rounds a couple bit. Even though, as you can see in that second half scoreboard, right, where Louvre just picked up 4 straight rounds, it doesn't feel like a big deal to them as of now. Because the problem, I think, is they're starting to kind of feel, what's the word here? Fewer in the options that they do have. I think it's because of the fact that Durian is just very much on point with the threat on that operator. So unless they can figure out a way to break Durian's ability for this, ability for getting eliminations like this, it's going to be difficult for them. What I'm thinking they could do is they're just going to save Redco's null command up until the next round when they can actually properly buy, and that's when you're really going to strike. So they're going to try to do something different on this half buy that they have, this quasi buy, and see where it goes, at least for them. Again, Jav, as long as he has that utility of his, it's going to be very difficult. But he plays this safe. He actually uses his own null command on the contact, and alongside the Hunter's Fury, they really are just gonna, brute force their way with utilities just to get the hell out of our sight.
Well, Nalcomon definitely forcing them back, not allowing them to come into the side, and forcing them to just hold themselves and hold on to their horses. Of course, the pick definitely helps, but I feel like Darian is expecting somebody to be inside halls, and he's assuming he's on the right, but for now he's going to cross on. Does he have backup? Does he have anybody to back him up? I don't think so. But the knife, once again, will give some information that there is presence towards a main. The door being opened up as well. Now, the problem is Jay needs to stay alive, and he's being distracted by that Cypher to perfection. Darion needs to go in right now. Oh my lord, he gets shot down. That is an operator going away as well, but the XN will put him trade it out. Jay, in the meantime, one more crucial pick. Yeah, to hand it to Jay. He definitely helped in delaying that push, holding the side down, even though he was stuck between the rock and hard place, especially with the door being open. His teammate trying to use the blade storm and push in because he needed backup. But of course, you have to give it to the Cypher that was playing up there, getting that pick on the jet, and of course, eventually forcing a play from the defenders.
I think Darion just missed the point that somebody could actually be there. You mentioned it, right? That there's like, he knows that there's someone here, and then immediately just dashes in and activates a blaze, thinking that nobody's there anymore and just wants to open the door. Weird. Anyways, as you mentioned, yeah, Jay definitely the huge pivot point of that defense on the A side. What I did like about how he played that part is he knew that he was getting already pushed on Ivy, the default plant spot on the spike, but he actually started backing up into cover of fence, and then that's what allowed him to at least deal with DXN and push the XN a bit more forward into Crazy Guy's reticles. And at that point, when they lost DXN, that just ruined the pinch, the two-pronged attack that Louvre had. And unfortunately, because I believe they lost Bryce so early on, they didn't really have any smokes so that the two attackers that were left on the site could transition back onto A main to be helped out by Shun. And of course, just not having the proper weapons is just, a portion or an option for concern here for Louvre. But I guess my guess is also correct that Redco did hold on to his null command for as long as possible, because now they're going to use this to try to bully Darion's operator as of the moment. And what is going to be also bad for Dorian, at least if he's alone, is he doesn't have his blades here anymore if he doesn't get I keep forgetting the proper terminology. Disabled by the utility. Suppressed, excuse me. There you go. By the utility.
Well, yeah, if it doesn't get suppressed by the utility, it could work out. But then again, that's the entire point of Kyo, right? It's so annoying to play against, especially the null command. I've seen so many instances, and we saw that in the Indian qualifier as well. I believe it was Revenant playing against some team in Paradox had the tour de force, but the moment they started executing be the opposition, using null command, and all you had was a classic to work with. But for now, Crazy Guy has creeped up, but I feel like they're making it too obvious by taking those shots that, hey, this might just be a bait and switch. But Crazy Guy is definitely a great position to get that initial opening. But the null command coming in now. Darion needs to hold it off. Yes, definitely does get the first pick. Needs to find the second as well, trying his best. But is he going to be able to spot them? I don't think so. For now, they're just going to casually stroll on the side. But Darion once again getting one more. J-Edge finding Redco. And Scary is not going to stop. At this point on, it's only 1 versus 5.
Ooh.
And there's only so much you can do, right, in 1 versus 5. But look at Blade. Finally, they've started to believe.
That was brutal. That was so brutal. Like, they didn't wait for the wall to get flung out first, and nobody was looking at top mid or tunnels. And speaking of tunnels, a bit of tunnel vision for Louvre here, unfortunately. I mean, I got the idea, but unfortunately, again, just the little bits of execution really screwed them over on that one, Mamba. And unfortunately, I don't know if they were hoping that Durian was going to be playing on A, because he's been playing on A for like the past 3 rounds. But this time, he's sobering towards B, and he's done it again this round. Vera's already out, so no more dash in from the Jet. And there's like 3 people here from the defenders, while I think Crazy Guy and Jay are going to start pushing in onto A main just to go for the hard flank here. Here comes the continued push of Louvre. That's going to just get ruined because they're pushing through a smoke and a snake bite and basically every utility that makes it very difficult for attackers to gain any form of foothold on a site.
Yep. And you saw how he made it happen, right? Darion went in, got the first pick, and then, of course, Redlow with the snake bite, making them vulnerable and just getting those picks. So the operator being used to perfection is what I personally believe, especially with an aggressive operator like that, right? When you can go out there and get that initial pick to throw them off, it works out wonderfully in your favor. And then, of course, when you have your teammates to lock down the side as well, especially a Viper. So it's not that easy to breed something like that. But Darion once again wants to go in, but will not have the dash available. That's rather brave of him. I don't think he realizes the Jet actually dashed in, unless of course he's hurt, because there was too much happening. Look at Vera in his position. I believe they do know that Vera might be there, dishing out just enough damage, but not enough to take him down. And Darion trying his best to clear this out bit by bit. Has an operator to work with. The problem is if he misses this shot, he dies. He will quickly get traded out. Doesn't even have the tailwind available. So, actually, it doesn't have the dash available. And, well, for now, Redla, all he can do is just wait and ask for backup because there is a drone coming in.
That drone's finds 2. Durion's head is just peeking through on this, and there you go. Bryce finally finds it. That's huge. I thought it was going to be a mistake or a difficulty for them to... okay. Jay finds 2. We'll take those. But yeah, I thought that change of pace from Louvre was a mistake, but it did allow them just to recuperate themselves and start pushing in as a unit together, which is absolutely tremendous for them. Jay's trying to get in closer while his teammate has picked up a rifle already. I wonder if they heard 2 pop shots on the back just to break that recon dart. Crazy Guy's getting closer while them taking damage through. Now Crazy Guy, I don't think he should be able to win this. Nope, absolutely not. Shun shuts them down, and that brings us back 11-11.
Definitely brings us back to 11-11, and this match is getting closer than anybody would have expected. Maybe not Lou supporters, but of course, on paper, it looked like Bleed is going to be an absolute force to deal with. They are trying their best to make a comeback, but Lou is shutting them down every single time. And after losing 5 rounds in a row, they managed to win 1. And probably one of the most crucial ones as well, because they needed to stop Bleed over here, because if they went to map point, it would have been difficult. I believe the cash wouldn't have been that great either. But for now, trying to get some early information towards mid. That recon dot will get broken, so no information whatsoever to work with. And Vera has the Blade Storm. Can he find a pick? Darion, once again, just peeking mid, super aggressive. If he spots him, I think Darion will win this fight, but ooh, Crazy Guy comes in from mid window. And I like how Darion is just so confident, right? He doesn't care. He trusts his team, and he's like, you know what? I have cover. My team is going to be there to back me up. I won't die. And that's the sort of trust you need when you're playing at such a high level.
Now, instinct as well, right? Because Crazy Guy was just by himself, peeking through mid by himself. And there was like possibly 2 to 3 attackers that could be looking at Nest. Unfortunately now, in this 4 versus 5, of course, because of the lesser numbers for Louvre, they're afraid of what is to come. Look at how just, not really afraid, but maybe cautious of what is to come. That's why they're looking for so many angles that Lurks could be being pressed here by Bleed. Already Jay has used his ultimate on the A site because he knows that it's close to dinner time. They're going to have to start pushing in. Here comes the delay tactics once again from Retla. Because they haven't forced that snake bite, look at how much it just burns in terms of time for Louvre here. Great shot onto Dorian. Retla still has yet to get exposed, and he's going to play delay tactics. 15 seconds is plenty of time to plant that spike, but they still have to delete. One at the back of the site, which is good. But Jay is here, and even though he's bottom fragging, it doesn't mean that he's going to be underperforming. Whenever he's put in that situation, he always converts.
Did you notice a teabag that he just got at the end? Picks up the weapon, teabags the opponent, and clearly showing.
Oh, you have to crouch to pick up the weapon. That's.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
Because, a Vandal and a Phantom is pretty heavy. So, you don't want to throw at your back, right? Where you're still fighting like 13 rounds in.
You just have noodle arms, man, if you feel that Randall's heavy. But no, I love the banter. Look, here's the thing, right? I personally believe everything that happens in the server stays in the server. But of course, seeing a little bit of banter is always entertaining. So Jay sort of putting it in stone, stamping his authority and be like, you know what, KO diff once around, shows up, as a matter of fact, when his team needed him. And Louvre now are in a bit of a pinch because the problem is they need to win this round. Otherwise, they're going to end up losing first map. In the meantime, the coach for Bleed looks pretty chill. I feel like he knows that they have this in the bag because they managed to pull this off from a position where they were being decimated in the first half. So I feel like Bleed for now is just feeling it. They're feeling pretty confident.
I think absolutely confident on this one. And again, I think there's just a big problem. I don't know what's going to be the quick adjustment here after that tactical timeout, right, for Louvre, what the call is just to adjust. Because it took them such a long time to build back one round just to 11-11 a round or two ago. Now, after this tactical timeout, looking a bit light on the buys here, Mamba. Dorion's just going in for a straight shot onto elbow, but he's been spotted. Wow, okay. Tokyo Drift, to be called about the jet drift. Zoom. Just getting away from that danger point on mid.
I love the dad jokes you make. That's right. I think that's the best part of casting with you. Pretty entertaining. Listen, I'm a sucker for dad jokes, all right? But, well, it's a pretty important round. 11-12. Bleed Esports, they win the round. They close the map out. Louvre trying the best to push it to overtime because they've had a wonderful start. But the problem is Viper's pit is already in play over here. And it's not going to be easy. Look at Redlast's position, though. That is phenomenal. He can definitely take down a couple of players. But now they've decided to fall back. No information to work with. Redlast just waiting. That Cypher cam is so annoying, right? Every single time he checks, like, maybe there's a movement. Maybe there's a movement. And that's forcing a rotation from the SOA as well towards the B side. So Crazy Guy is going to start falling back, but I think now he realizes, you know what? There's been no movement whatsoever. This could potentially be an A take.
Again, they're
30
they're
seconds
just
left.
burning the time here, man. Jay's already pretty aware. And if Jay throws his fragment on the feet of Louvre, does that mean Jay on his feet? Anyways, I kid myself, but the delay tactics is here. 15 seconds. They haven't even pushed into the site yet. Halfway there, not even close.
10 seconds.
They're gonna have to pray that they got themselves any modicum of respect to just get into the site and start planting right now. But Jay's got the flash. There it is, the push. Bryce is holding on, but the Hunter's Fury.
Enemy
And they're getting cleaned up. One more DXN. Or is he peeking through? It's on A main, but Retla finds him with the 3K. And that is going to be Bleed taking game number 1, 13-11.
13-11, Bleed Esports. Finally closing it down. It almost seemed like for an instance
Defenders
that,
win.
you know what, Bleed might not even let them plant the spike, but they get that. Now, the Hunter's Fury as well just misses the planter by half a second. They plant the spike down 1 versus 2. At that point, I actually believed Louvre could actually push it to overtime. And if they did manage to do it, that would have been such a massive problem for Bleed because they literally had the map in the bag, and then it would have just been unfortunate. But then again, they do win the map. That's what happened. I can hypothesize about all the possible outcomes of that round. But the truth is, Bleed are 1-0 up, and it's looking highly likely that it could be a potential 2-0. But at the same time, Louvre has impressed me quite a bit.
Mm-hmm. They've definitely proven they can match up against Bleed here, and it was a good set of rounds, but come the final few rounds on the defense or on the attacking side here for Louvre, you definitely do see the struggle that they weren't able to really answer at all. Like, they did so many technical timeouts, and I think one of the biggest, if not the biggest factor that really ruined their chances on the offense was just figuring out where the hell Durian was and trying to deal with him. And unfortunately, Vera, when he was catching up to Darion there, really needed to get that kill. If he didn't, I think we just saw what happened here for Louvre, which is they just default with pushing under 30, maybe even under 20 seconds into a site. And by that point, they've used so much utility already. And, you know, Bleed have not. They have so much just to delay. And it just, again, was just a tale of what kept happening over and over again for the past 2 to 3 rounds. Anyways, Vera, though, looking to be the map MVP, such an impactful player, but unfortunately, he lost a lot of his luster come the later stages, and it just, again, as we saw, ended in that 32-11.
You don't usually get to see a map MVP from the team that lost the map, right? But it's such an impeccable performance that it was just impossible to look away from him. 8 first picks is insane. But of course, if you look at the ADR, average damage per round, was Crazy Guy who had higher ADR, but ACS is where, and of course, I'm believing the entry frags as well is where I became the map MVP. But of course, Crazy Guy with the Sova, out-fragging everyone, of course, dishing out so much damage and getting all that information was so impactful in such crucial rounds that it's incredible to see the way he played. But of course, do you remember that anti-ego round in the first half where they lost a pistol? Crazy Guy was towards a elbow and managed to get like 2 more picks with the Vandal. That's the kind of impact I'm talking about, right? You might have lost the round, but at the same time, you've kept the economy in check, and that is so important.
Absolutely. Again, one of the Vietnamese players out there that is just incredibly intelligent with how he approaches these fights. Just an absolutely great pickup there for Bleed. And we see immediately you've been mentioning it, right? The big impacts that he's able to bring to the table here for Bleed. And I think without Crazy Guy, just keeping the playing field leveled for those rounds that they were struggling against Louvre, I think they would have been in such a worse spot if not without him. In any case, now we look in onto Pearl. Thankfully, as well, we're going to be casting Pearl here. Is it going to be the final, game of today, or are we going to see a game number 3? Also, thankfully enough, guys, this is still a double LMs tournament. So if Louvre or Bleed get pushed down or get knocked out of the series, they still do have another series that they can fight in the lower bracket. So if you're a fan of either one of these two teams, they still have that extra life.
Oh, that they do, absolutely. But for now, again, focusing on this match, did you think this would have been this close, 13-11 in favor of Bleed?
Honestly, no, but it's a really good surprise, and again, it just shows how incredibly talented both of these teams are on this end. There was just so much that was happening there. Louvre was doing so great on that defensive end, while Bleed was just able to weather the storm and bring it back on the second half. Anyways, guys, we're gonna go on a break. When we come back, we'll see what happens in Pearl for game number 2. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We're just coming in from that break, and we continue this series between Louvre and Bleed. We'll see how Pearl undergoes. Once again, my name is Asray. With me now is Mamba.
Oh yeah, first map pretty closer than what anybody would have expected. Maybe not Louvre because they knew what they were up to, they knew what they were doing. But Blade, of course, was caught off guard, being dominated the first half, at least the first couple of rounds in the first half, and then slowly but surely Bleed clawed the way back into victory in the first map. But you also need to remember this was Bleed's pick, where they struggled so much. Next one, Pearl, is actually Lou's pick. Bleed, I'm not quite sure how good they are on Pearl, but if first map is anything to go by, this will be interesting. Potential 3-mapper, I'm not sure. Asura, what do you think?
I'm not sure either because again, Pearl is a map that I haven't really casted that much in my particular region, so my guess is as good as yours. Although I will say though that with the struggles that we saw from Louvre, right, where they tend to have difficulties on the offense, and putting Bleed at the start on defense here is definitely going to put them to the test in the fact that their execution versus Bleed's ability to just put delay tactics with their utilities is going to really strain how well Louvre are comfortable with each other as they push into a site, especially with a new-esque map like Pearl.
That is true. Not a lot of data to go by as well. I was just trying to look up some matches that Bleed might have played on Pearl, and they've only played one match ever, which is Brim, Chamber, Fade, KO, and Viper. But the problem is that one match is a very small sample size to go by, so it still could be anybody's map. This is what I believe, right? Especially when a new agent comes out, a new map comes out. It's not used to its full potential, the new agent, a map. It's not played to its full potential, the smaller details. But I still feel that it's such a new map, right? Once again, the fact that Louvre picked it, I'm going to give them the edge on this one.
Well, I still stand by my words. I'm going to give the edge on Bleed. Durion's now going to be picking up the Chamber. About the same in terms of the picks. Although, Retla, hello, hovering over the Brim. I do like this, I think. Because, again, you do have the reusable utility with the Viper, of course, with that wall of hers, and of course when you have that Viper spit really strong in terms of just overtaking or taking a site. What also is kind of interesting again is we're gonna be seeing the Brimstone. I think in this map is I don't know how to say it, but I feel like he's okay. I guess what is gonna be interesting is how if there is going to be post plant with that Molotov of his, right, with the Molly. If there isn't, what's going to be the other use case that Bleed have in mind as to why they picked up the Brimstone? Or maybe it's just because they also want to have a Molly ability on both sites. That's why they have, both the Brim and the Viper. So I'm just thinking that could be the case why, compared to the Astra, that her utility is very easily read. Oh, if there's a star here, let's just go to the other side. At least if it's a Brimstone, just pop it up and you're good to go.
Oh yeah, and with the Astra, right, on defense especially, you're so strong at delaying them because you have the Nova available, you have the Gravity well available, as well. Nebula, of course, that's a given, that's an obvious one. But as an attacker, if you're going up against a good Astra, it's so damn annoying because you lose time, and playing slow against them doesn't help, especially given the fact that you've already wasted so much time trying to get some map control, and then you also have additional time being lost because of whatever utility that the Astra might use, buying enough time for the teammates to rotate back in. So I see where you're coming from. I understand exactly what you're saying. But then again, I think Brim Smoke is just one of those things that takes away so much time as well, if used properly. And it's also pretty massive. Let's be honest. It's massive. There's no visibility inside. And you also have the incendiary to work with. If you know enough lineups, I think you can be pretty impactful, especially in the post-plan situations. But then again, it's very situational. I don't like... So as fun as it is to see all these situational plays that happen, right? It's not the best of approaches, at least in my opinion, but we don't know if that is the case over here, right? Because this is a very layered match.
Sure enough. I guess also the reason is, I guess Brim just gives you a little bit more of a boost to either rotate or get into a site, right? Because if you have, let's say, a duelist that just dashes right in, and your opponent is setting up utility that ruins your follow-up, you have that stim beacon that maybe makes you 50% faster in getting into the site, and that could be what makes or breaks you just taking more damage to little damage. So things like that, I think, is what we have to watch out for here. Also, the thing why I don't like about Brim that our players that, you know, don't use or don't fight against a Brim often might not know is that when he brings out the iPad, the tablet, to, you know, for his smokes, it makes sound. So if I'm not mistaken, yeah. So it's kind of very much shown where he is, or audio-wise, you'll know where he is when he plays on the map.
Well, what happens if initially we aren't going to see any? Just trying to push out, and the Brim smoke, right? This is exactly what I was talking about. There's so little visibility. You can't even push in, and even if you do decide to push in, you always have to be on guard. But Darion playing aggressive towards and trying to hold an angle, which by the way has been changed in the recent patch. So before this, it was possible to hold off that angle from Art, but now it's not because, well, the devs thought it just didn't make sense, right? It's such a powerful angle as well to work with, but at the same time, Redco is stuck behind that box. Red Light still waiting. Darion can find the pick though. That is the question. Yes, indeed, he can. He will find the pick. And Lou is going to lose out on a player initially. But KO, on the other hand, on Bleed Esports, doesn't have a lot of health points to work with either.
Yeah. Numbers are still going to be very important, especially on this pistol round. Rice sets up the wall. That cuts up a lot of rotation right now as Art is starting to be pushed up. No delay tactics whatsoever. A-Main does have a trap, but it's only Vera that's going to just mosey on in there. In 30 seconds. Again, Louvre just... Is that a C's? Oh, no, that's just a Haunt. All right, so no CC just yet. They're really going to go for the full commit here. Durion's tucked right in. If nobody peeks out on A-Main, he could have some damage points in this particular position. Seems like the rest of Bleed will back away for the moment, respecting the offense that Louvre have put up onto the site. Because of this, the three of them will be pushed way, way, way back. This Viper, I think, was hovering somewhere on B long, hoping for maybe to spot anybody on the lurk. Unfortunately not. Durion finally finds one. And this is where we get a little bit more of a nice little fight here. Unfortunately, no smokes. Spike is planted out in the open. It's going to be awkward. Spots at about 3. Hits nothing. Durion does some damage, makes some waves. But it seems like Louvre will be able to ride it into victory.
And not too often losing the first player, which happened to be Astra, right? It's not easy going, but that's when the Viper comes into play. That's when Viper comes into picture. But the fact that they triple stacked Art and made it happen is wonderful to watch, because they knew that's the only option they have. They didn't have a lot of control towards A-Main either. Didn't make sense to try and push in and take it away either. So they stick to Art, make it happen, make it work, and there they are with one round in their favor. Once again, Bleed not being able to win the pistol. This is the third time in this matchup. Only 3 pistol rounds have happened, but the flash, ooh, look at that, the flash right coming in, and ooh, getting those initial picks. Wonderful. Wonderful gameplay over here.
Typical CS flash. Love it. Love to see it in Valorant. Just the setup, just going in reverse so that you can 180 and follow up with the flash. Ah, yes. So satisfying to watch. Anyways. Yeah. I don't think there's going to be any big eco damage that we'll see from Bleed here, unless Durion comes big with the flank, but he's so slow. He's just like, yeah, somebody's going to have to be, you know, barking up my direction right about now. And he's just going to be tucking himself in that spawn of the attacking side, while both the smokers just doubled up. Probably won't try to give any kills and just die to the event horizon of that spike in and of itself. But that would just mean that our attackers here will get themselves a nice little flawless. So much utility. And they still haven't spotted Durion. He's just tucked right there. No headhunter.
Yeah, but he's going to try his best. Doesn't matter. He's going to get taken down. He had to, right? He had to take that fight. And actually, just hope that he gets one before he gets taken down. But that flash was so good. It's always satisfying to watch. You were right about that. Just so good, right? When you see a play like that, there's so many things you want to say, but At the same time, there is only so much you can say about it because it's so simple, but yet so effective and yet so beautiful.
It's just so satisfying. You know how though you see those videos on TikTok or Instagram where they post it on the reels, right? Or it just yes, when you see it, it just makes your day. Absolutely agree. Yeah. Scary though. Ooh, yeah, go for it.
No, Scary just waiting on the snake bot, had to delay the push, and that's what he's going to try and do. But Chun, in the meantime, is going to take down Crazy Guy. Scary almost connecting that shot, finding a connection to Viper's wall, but he will get taken down. So that's not going to work out for Bleed, is it?
Not at all. They do stop the plant though on the spike. Jay is keeping them on their toes. Might expose his head there. The teammate has a operator. So unless that wall goes down, there's no chance I think we're going to be seeing Durian just push through this, and they still have to be aware that, you know, it's a 4 versus 2, and Bryce is just hovering towards B alley here, waiting for any form of contact. And since these are pretty expensive weapons, yeah, just holding on, waiting, saving would be the best bet for Bleed. Gotta say, Louvre's attack on here on Pearl, so much more cohesive than what we saw before. The TP out, can get back into cover before the chase down in, but no chase will follow. But Bryce, cheeky, although this has been answered at an angle by JH.
But here's the thing, right? You also have to realize this was Lou's pick. So understandable why they're looking so confident on this map, given the fact that it was their pick, but at the same time, Bleed. We saw them struggle in the first couple of rounds in both the half last match, and then they started coming back in. Darion is going to have an op to work with for sure. Of course, they saved it. But Louvre, on the other hand, no operators to work with. Is there going to be attack timeout? I'm not sure. But I feel like this could be the round because they don't have a lot to lose, right? Darion definitely playing the hero operator, going in aggressive, try and get that pick, and everybody else can just play around him.
That is a long, long lineup. At least it does flush out both Pillar and Secret. No, Scary. Unfortunate. Louvre, great pop shots all throughout. Scary was a controller, so unless he could, you know, just run across, which all pop shots were being just blown in his general direction, it would not work out. Vera gets spotted by Durian, immediately repositions. And Durian's just out of there. He's just running for the A site, but they're still going to commit to this to B. So much noise being done. They've called back Durian. And Louvre, they can't really push through much because of the utility. They're still respecting that even though it's not a lot of weapons, the angles are just a little bit awkward on B, especially with the setups that have been placed. And now Durian's back here. If they try to push into his contact, this could be a pretty good round for Bleed. But of course, 4 versus 3, heavily still in favor of Bleed in terms of the numbers. Oh, that's big.
Dishing out enough damage, though. The problem was he was not able to close him out, and now
Spike planted.
it's 2v4, right? It's never easy. They do have the hunt available. Bryce watching the backside, but there's nobody right behind him. Sean not being able to take down that bait. Oh my lord! Reducing it to a 2v2 now. They might actually have a chance. Crazy Guy, 22 points of health. He does have a problem to work with. I believe he has a haunt as well, and Darion will try and peek around the corner. He knows exactly where he is. He needs to find that pick. There is one towards high B main, but almost putting him, almost taking him down as well. He is going to try and creep up. The problem is going to peek the left side. Can he find that pick? That is a question. Does find one. Needs to find the second as well, but does he have enough HP? Does he have enough time? I don't think so, but that is so much damage. That is so much damage being dished out to Louvre. Great gameplay from Bleed Esports. They've taken away so much cash from them.
So much cash, and just basically, I love how they are starting to pace themselves a whole lot more on Pearl, knowing that it's not the end of the world if they don't have utility to keep the offense rolling. What is good is that they're also burning Bleed's utility, because Bleed have to respect that if they don't, they're going to be forced into a post plan that might not be into their favor. Thankfully, Durian is able to save this operator time and time again. The problem is it still hasn't really translated into a good round at all for Bleed as of the moment. Crazy guy trying to get some map control in mid, especially with that help from the Brimstone smoke. But he doesn't really push as he's aware that he could be in a bad spot. Jay is just right on top of 2F here, waiting for that contact immediately with the wall. I wonder if Scary's going to peek this because he's by himself, and somehow Jay hits the shot before the wall actually gets any value. Retlo with the delay tactics on the molly. I think it also stops him from getting access into back halls, which keeps Scary safe, which is good. And now, I mean, the spike is planted, but this is still a 5 versus 4 with a lot of smokers that could block out vision all the way through B long.
They could, but Jay is going to use the null command, and this is exactly what they needed. They needed to take away all the potential utility. All he needs to do is just be in range and not allow them to use any sort of utility, but it's the fusion coming. Jay does get taken down, so does Crazy Guy. That is so unfortunate. They need to go over and take these fights. They can't just start using the spike. I don't think they're going to win the round that way, and it all comes down to Chamber all alone, and now they're losing one more round again.
You're absolutely right. I mean, it was planted out in the open. What were they expecting smoking that and just straight up defusing it? I mean, I could have understand if it was planted, you know, in a corner that you had the diffuser safe because of the wall, but way out into the open like that without any flashes, mind you, I don't think Jay has used any of his flashes in that particular round because nobody was blinded for Louvre, especially in that post plan. Maybe he was, but the effect, the impact wasn't really felt. So that's a definite big no-no here for Bleed. Now, as they get, you know, pushed back into the drawing board, what's to follow? They're going to go for a massive flank onto mid. Not going to work out. That wall separates him. And Scary's by himself here. Nightfall giving away his location. No? Well, now it does. 1-for-1 in trades, but this is still not going favorably for Bleed.
Spike planted.
100% not. I mean, at this point, they're being dominated. That's the word I'd like to use, because they've been walking into the B side every single round and not just getting the spike down, but they've been playing post plan to perfection as well. And the problem with Bleed is that they've just not had an answer to it, to the B long control. They've not been able to go out there and take control of mid as well. But Sean, in the meantime, is going to take down J Edge. It all comes down to Chamber and Brim. But Redlaw trying his best to get that initial pick, which he does. How in the world does that connect?
Well, instincts, I guess. Durian not really needing to save himself. Shun tucking himself at the back of the site. And even gets away. Should be able to save this weapon. I mean, doesn't nearly need to because they have so much money, but look at that cheeky little position that he did. Nobody from Bleed was expecting it. They might actually gravitate Durian now to be straight up and maybe put his trap there as well just to help things out. The wall's not really working, or the wall's really working heavily against the favor of Bleed here. They just have no answer to it whatsoever. Like, they've just, again, as long as that spike gets planted out in the open, the B-long post plan for Louvre is pretty unstoppable at this point.
It is, but I'm sure the coach is going to have a couple of harsh words over there. But I feel like Bleed is not really... They're not making a lot of mistakes. I mean, sure, there are a couple here and there. Then there are some blunders like that retake that we saw. But I feel like it's Louvre who's actually playing really well. A lot of times you see teams losing rounds because they've been making really silly mistakes. But the problem over here, I don't think that's a problem. I feel like Louvre is just absolutely playing so much better than Bleed, and the Bleed literally does not have an answer to their attack.
The problem I think with them is they just haven't been able to match the pacing of Louvre here, and I think Louvre have given themselves a nice little game loop where it's heavily in their favor. You think that, oh, why don't just Bleed pushes up on B long and, you know, tries to counter them? The problem is, yeah, there's a Blade lineup plus a Molly lineup that they have on B long that just ruins their day, and they can wait for it like this. So Durian, even if he's like here, you can see that Louvre are very much aware, so he has to push forward aggressive. Oh no, he didn't trust in his teammate, so he had to back away. Now they know that at least the chamber is somewhere here, and immediately, as you can see, Louvre is rotating harshly on mid, maybe expecting that somebody's going to be aggressive towards there, or if not, at least they can default maybe onto B alley and start aggressing towards that location where JH is the only one really to handle that. Maybe they do have the fade alongside that corridor, but as long as Louvre use their utility as well, especially with the Prowler, this is going to be very difficult for Bleed to undergo. And as you can see, it's just falling down to pieces for the pop shots from Crazy Guy does absolutely nothing. And Durian, oh, Durian with the collateral though, does at least equalize the situation, but the site has been lost.
Site's been lost, but there is an orbital strike. They do have a Brawler to work with. I feel like they could have used the Prowler before the orbital strike, but then again, as long as it delays the plot, as long as it doesn't allow them. Crazy Guy though inside the Viper Spit, being decayed down to 1 HP. Where we'll find the pick on the scary. It's still gets a 2-2-2-2. Can Bleed pull this back? That is a question. Drumla gets one. He knows where the spike is being planted. I think he's definitely not getting any information whatsoever. Trying their best. Probably will run out of ammo at this point, but Crazy Guy, he will try and go in along with his teammate. But the problem is if they line up, they might just get taken down. Oh my lord, this is a problem. They're checking every single possible angle. They will smoke it off. Do they want to go in for the defuse? Bryce will say inside the smoke. This is incredible. Bryce being so sneaky, but is he going to get spotted? He will get spotted, will get taken down as well. So, look, as cheeky as it was a tough place to be in because they could have come in from literally anywhere and just walk away with that win, and that's exactly what happened. So I feel like it could have been played better, but then again, what were the available options over there?
I'm gonna say I think that was an intentional smoke from Retla, not because he wanted to put the smoke there so that he can what's the word diffuse inside the smoke, because that would have been dumb, because you still take damage from the Viper Spit, and Bryce can always just pop shot through that. I think what was that wall for was just to put Bryce in. Oh, Bryce, look, there's a smoke here in your Viper Spit. You can hide inside and try to play sneaky. And then Retla was just so aware. He just timed it perfectly. Bryce was like, yeah, you got me.
If that was the case, I'm impressed, honestly. That's a lot of layers. But I feel like this might just be the round that Bleed needed. You see how confidently they took mid control, right? They wanted to fight mid and not give it away for free. So that's exactly what they needed to do, and that's exactly what they're doing as well. For now, Bryce jump spotting, trying to find some sort of information. He does get spotted, almost got taken down as well. The Crazy Guy with 2 picks for himself, and Bryce will fall down. Bleed somehow now just stamping their authority. They still have a man advantage to work with. They could potentially throw it away if Shan manages to find a pick on a Crazy Guy, but Crazy Guy needs to be careful with this one.
Well, he is at least jiggle peeking, so not too much that'll be too fatal for him. And this is why you do love initiator players. You always have that utility just to throw stuff out. These guys out in the open. I think he just barely misses Redco. If he peeks this, Redco's already prepared. The swing. Backs away into cover. Still has a Prowler. Throws it out. Forces the pop shots. Now they have a bit of information. Still don't know where the other lies. Left. That's going to be Shun. And Redco is trying to create an opening. Unfortunately, it's 2 versus 1. Shun's going to try to re-peek this one as well. And Crazy Guy just pops in even before he can see Crazy Guy shooting through that general direction. Look at this. Boom.
Crazy Guy is an absolute menace to play against sometimes, He is so good at what he does. Mechanically, he's definitely skilled. And, of course, his transition to Valorant as well, right? Has been pretty decent, I'll be honest, because, look, all the other FaZe titles that he's played, he's definitely proven himself. But getting back to this round, I will continue with a point, but when you have a Viper Spit being used over here now, Lou will be forced not to go A main at least, and get some control towards Art, which I was just about to call A short, or even the B side. But for now, Wera will just hold this angle. So the point I was trying to make was Crazy Guy, right? Gets a quad kill the last round. Definitely very important. The confidence that he has was great to see. Definitely has the skill to back up all the cocky peaks that he had and get those picks. So very entertaining player to watch. Of course, a menace if you're ever playing against him.
You could say He has the lineage of Dennis, you know? Dennis the Menace. All right, Bleed, or excuse me, Louvre are starting to make some waves on mid. Nightfall, though, just a challenge. Nightfall for Nightfall, actually. Vera, is he really going to be confident enough to push through the Viper's Pit with just the tour de force? Now, of course, if you're a South Asian viewer, you'd say that probably SK Rossi would have pushed that and would have gotten a kill, but fortunately, not going to say. He's not here, unfortunately. So we'll see how this goes. Now, I'm just thinking about it in that way. I love our fans. I love our viewers.
Oh, absolutely. But look at the amount of time that they wasted trying to go in towards.
Oh!
We'll get two, not even just one, but we'll get two, and Scary as well. Just saying a lot. They don't have enough time to plant the spike down at this point. All they needed to do was fall back, because that's all they could have done and save these weapons up. But of course, it's not going to work out in the Viper's Pit. Working out so much in the favor of Bleed Esports in terms of just not allowing them to have aim in control, forcing them towards odd, and now we have a timeout coming in from Louvre.
Yeah, they definitely need to call this one out, even though it's a 3-round deficit and advantage rather in favor of Louvre. You still know that this is what happened basically on Breeze, right? Where Louvre get all of these great starting rounds. They're always good on the initial things. Unfortunately, once Bleed adjust, what is the counter adjustment that Louvre will try to do? And they did definitely, struggle at this point. And we'll see how this unravels. Also, I mean, it was a round where Bleed had so much utility to also utilize, but you do see again that Louvre are put back into the default where they're always kind of pressured to push under 30 seconds, which really ramps up the pressure on them, because they're like, oh no, we might not have time to plant the spike. They're going to have to try to rush into the side, which we haven't really properly cleared yet, because, you know, our utility, even though we set it up, we still have to hurry into pushing in. And unfortunately, that's not really going to work against Bleed, as you saw with the trades that they were able to do.
Teleport's ready.
True. For now, Darion is going to try and be as aggressive as possible towards B main to get that initial pick off, but I don't think that's going to be that easy. I mean, of course, they do have the Nebula available, so Darion will still try and hold that angle off, but Vera, he knows this could happen, so he's just going to crouch and wait and see if he can find the drop on him. But Darion needs to be careful. He does. He needs to be very careful. Oh my lord, that was so unfortunate. He spotted the barrel, but the flash drive forcing him to use the rendezvous and fall back. Yeah, no, that should have been an initial pick for Bleed, but then again, Louvre just playing it smarter.
Smarter and slowly here. Slowly but surely is what they definitely need. Durian, a bit too greedy just to push through that wall, especially when it doesn't have any TPs. But now they know it's going to be the push here for Louvre's attack. Pop flash. This could put Crazy Guy into a lineup alongside Jay, and it's like 1 HP. They do have the orbital from Retla. They're not going to use it from the looks of things, so they're going to just try to deal maybe some economic damage, or maybe get 2 kills first before they try to do anything cheeky. The long con flank, not going to work. Crazy Guy tried to save the operator, but it's not going to all be for naught. And, well, Scary's just so far. Yeah, they're definitely going to try to pick up B now.
Well, there's no point going in, right? So might as well just fall back, save the operator. Wait, they couldn't pick up the operator, could they? I'm not quite sure, but I feel like the player got taken down. I need to double check this. But yeah, no, they need to fall back and just save these weapons up. So yeah, Scary not having the operator to work with. We'll find the pick on the Bryce. But what difference does it make? At this point, they have 7 rounds. Or I still feel it's a little more attack heavy. Do you agree with this?
I think they make it attack heavy. I feel like Pearl is a pretty balanced map for either side, depending on which agents you have in reserve. And Louvre, I think, have found that nice formula, especially on the B side attack, that works exceedingly well on the offense. Also, I will have to give it that Durian's just a little bit too heated in just keeping the peaks up, thinking that, you know, he can get away with just the over-aggression and his aim is going to save him, which could be the case. But Louvre are so compact with how they place themselves, I don't think it's going to be as clear-cut or as straight as of a process for Durian. So he did lose the operator, but he will have money to still buy up. I think his teammates actually can still keep buying up until maybe end of the first half rounds. But there definitely needs to be an adjustment here for Durian. And I think putting him on B might not be the name of the game for him unless he really adjusts something different here. And it seems like he's just going to charge in and look for a different angle here. But, I mean, Louvre should know about this, and they're very cautious just using that Prowler straight up just to push back Durian.
But I also feel like they did announce a presence as well towards B main, right? It wasn't even just like, hey, you know what, we're gonna sneak up and go in and try and get that pick, but it's almost as if they announced their presence. But look at this now, he will fall back, he had to fall back, but the problem is his teammate could not. Darion, once again, all alone, only has an operator to work with, and the reason why I say only is because there is a toxic screen right in his face. The only angle that he can peek off is already being marked. There's not a lot you can do in a situation like that, so he will have to wait. But the problem is Crazy Guy has been taken down towards me now. That will force a rotation from Bleed.
Oh, he's hearing it. Oh, he doesn't peek. Everybody's just managed to escape now as Bryce is starting to open up the A site. I think the reason why JH got picked up like that, because he was side by side with Durian, so he wasn't able to strafe back into cover. So they bumped shoulders, and timing from Vera, my goodness, Louvre is just reading the situation so well. Redless just holding on to this weapon for the absolutely longest time. Durian's just trying to get closer and closer for the contact, and DXN, it's a fadeaway. Now Retla, will he go and retcon that operator? Or just, again, go for the exits and try to be as cheeky as he possibly can. There's so many angles that they have to deal with, especially now, as you look at this. Louvre's just positioned so off base. So he'll have to just guess every position. But yeah, he's just going to save the weapon.
Yeah, he'll just have to save the weapon. There's literally nothing else he can do. I feel like Bleed on this map at least is definitely struggling on defense. On attack could be a different story altogether, but yeah, it's a lot of rounds being lost. That's the problem. 3 to 8, they definitely win this round. Have 4 rounds to work with. But Bleed, even though they did get those picks, right, or at least they tried to, it's still just not working out. That's the problem. Louvre, on the other hand, they've been so dominant, and it's been on an equal footing. If you look at the frag distribution as well on Louvre, right? Everybody's doing the job. 5 assists for Astra, Viper, and KO. And of course, you have Sean top fragging over there, but Vera is going to peak again. So this time around, I like what Darian's doing. He's just being so aggressive. But I don't think he might have gone unnoticed. I feel like they know that he's actually going to be super aggressive towards B main.
It's only going to be Vera that's going to challenge Durian here, and we need to see that POV right now because Vera is only looking at the corner. They spotted each other out. He cannot escape. TP away. His teammate just blinds him just in case somebody peeks right in. And this is perfect for Bleed. That's what we wanted to see. Maybe Durian not being on an operator is just what the doctor ordered. Redless into the corner. And he's been put in a cheeky position where maybe he could have done some damage. Unfortunately, Shun immediately shuts the peekaboo plans here of Bleed. Now, once again, the post plan is just going to look so severe. Durian now trying to go for the large flank. Does have a battle or the tour de force in hand. Can he spot Redco? Ooh, let's see Redco first. I think he spotted each other. Yeah, he's backing away. They already know the one is going to be the prong attack on A main. While their teammate, JH will be coming through on spawn, but he doesn't know that Bryce is on the long con, on the long flank. And the spike again is planted out in the open. This is going to be horrible for our post plant. And now it's down to Durian.
Well, Darion trying his best to make his way onto the side, which he did, but does he have enough time to try and defuse his back? I don't think so. He doesn't even have the time. He needs to find 3 players, and Royce is already backstabbing, which he will take. Oh, look, that was close. That was close. Darion could have actually taken him down, but, well, that does not happen. Fortunate for him, Darion did not have enough time to turn around and get that pick, but, well, the first pick definitely was important. So that early aggression worked out in his favor. Retla almost lining them up and getting both these kills, but it's a lot of ifs and buts, right? Because of which Bleed have been struggling.
Absolutely. Like, there was like, oh man, if I hit that shot, we could have won the round, but he didn't. So, unfortunately, that is going to be the if and buts that Bleed will be feeling for the rest of this game. We do have a little bit of a reset here as, of course, we hit into the second half. Halftime pause for now. This gives a much-needed reprieve for Bleed, but Louvre, this is even better for them because obviously they would want to win this second game so they can push this into a third. If you go into Icebox, I honestly feel like with how both teams have been performing, it's going to be a close one again. And of course, it's going to be all dictated by how we go into this next pistol. The struggle here, I think, for Bleed is that they put Durion so much on the operator that I think it's up to the point where it was just feeling a little bit too keep sniping, and we'll see how that goes. But it cost them so many rounds, and I think it's because of how well Louvre were able to force Durion into just thinking that, oh, keep challenging us with that sniper, and we'll see how it goes. And because they do have that double controller, it's a tall order to have somebody like Durion to try to do that. Even though he can make it, Louvre just were able to make sure that he can't make those shots.
And I feel like what Louvre did really well on this map on attack especially was the fact that they were able to take away so much map control from the opposition, right? They used the KO so they used the 0 point and the fragment to make sure early on in the game that the chamber cannot push in and hide in that cubby on B long. After which I think they literally stopped doing it because they couldn't, right? It's almost as if they took it out of your mind that, hey, this is a spot you can potentially play, but they chose not to. Then they use the Fate to make sure that if in case they need that information, they can use a Prowler and force them back. That's the reason why every time the Chamber from Bleed tried to push up, there was just nothing he could have done. He had to fall back. He had to use Rendezvous and fall back. So Darion, as much as he tried, right? I think utility usage and the map control was bang on point from Louvre.
Absolutely, because again, right? It just again forced Durion into positions where either peeked or died, or peeked, got a shot, and then died, and then his teammate that follows up wouldn't be able to refrag properly because there's still like 4 players of Louvre just looking in general direction. Durion did get a couple of good shots. Yeah, we saw he had the collateral on Bialy, but after that, or Link, whatever you want to call the position on the connector on to B, it still was so difficult for him to try to deal with things. Anyways, nice little blade forces out the TP, and this time Louvre is going to be on the defense, and Durion, he's already hard pushed all the way through B long. One's going to be holding on mid here. Prowler for Prowler, bit of the dog cage on mid. But here comes the rotation right now from Bleed as they march towards to the B site.
This is going to be a really crucial one. Is it going to be the first pistol that Bleed ends up winning, or do they struggle with this one as well? But DXN, in the meantime, will try and move back into the side along with his teammates. Redcore trying to find some information, but look at that 3-man push coming in towards the defender base. That could be a massive problem. Jay will find that pick, and I love the aggression that Bleed is showing over here. Oh, but Scary trying his best to stay alive, will not be able to stay alive. He had a sheriff to work with, but got overwhelmed. That is so unfortunate.
Everybody's going to be just playing on the other end of each end right here. There's the quick swing out. They're going to have to fight out in the open. What a flick from JH! And he finishes off with the 4K. I was going to give Bleed the starting round here. You're absolutely right. Could be massive damage on the flank from Louvre, but I mean, Bleed Esports, they weren't, they were starving. They wanted to just push all the way through the back of Louvre's spawn. At that point, they were like, okay, now we know where Louvre are. They're just going to be straight up all on B, a B long flanking us.
Oh yeah, but I really like that aggression towards the defender base with 3 players when they took down that player was wonderful because look, you need to have control, especially when you know for a fact that you could only be backstabbed, so that's taking away map control. I like how aggressive they are. Darion getting their first pick will quickly get traded out, but of course the gun isn't going to go to waste. That Wander will quickly be picked up. They use a Prowler to clear that out, but you can actually use the Prowler to clear both Pillar and the left Kabi out as well, but they chose not to do that just so that they could go get those initial picks. But this Brim Smoke, I'm not sure if it has a gap on the left, sorry, on the right, but I feel like it's not big enough even if there is one. Then we get any meaningful information out of there.
Breathless just gonna reload his smokes on Bialy here while his teammate clears all these corners. The remaining defense of Louvre stuck. If they try to push through this, they're gonna be incredibly exposed. The Blade, they're really clear-cutting, like just making sure where Louvre's defense lies, and they have a very clear picture. Like they don't see it on the tags or anything, but they know it's gonna be on Bialy. I wonder if Bretla will get knocked out and he can't save this Vandal. Nope, he's gonna be good. And the rest of Louvre just gonna have to deal with it and get demolished by the explosion.
I mean, it only makes sense, right? Like you know, make sure you get that losing bonus and not miss out on creds. But that was a quick pick by Darion, but he got traded so quickly. He was like, nope, out of here. But luckily, his teammates were there to pick up the scraps after him and get a spike down. I feel, as long as I remember, I was the only player they lost as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was the only player they lost as well. So I feel like that was a pretty decent round coming in from Bleed. This time around, though, I feel like they might try and get some aggression towards Art and split A because it makes sense, right? If you have Spectres and whatnot, or not, you can go B.
They're still gonna try to go there. Probably is because actually no, reverse. I thought it was Louvre that's gonna just play back, but I guess because they do have the double controller, you know, they can still make things like this happen. And totally forgot that JH does have the null command. Nice little peek out though for Bryce. Does he know that Vera's there? Yes, he does. Gets 2. But this is good. Now they drop a couple of weapons that the remaining players of Bleed can pick up. And I think in terms of the rifle power, we should be neck and neck at this point. Big flank coming in from Shun. As the rest of the players, the forces of Louvre, now going to come in through B alley. Redco. Oh, that Molly's perfect. He gets flushed out. They can hear the footsteps. He's absolutely blinded, but they're also doing delay attacks. I don't think he saw, but now he does. Retla's in danger, and now it's just down to one more. Great smokes, I have to say, from Redco here. And those smokes dissipate, and crazy guys like, ah, no.
That's what you call spraying and praying.
Oh, yeah.
But the point is, Louvre had no business winning this one. They were in a good position, but at the same time, they used the utilities so well, right? They used both Nebulas to block off the backside.
Yeah.
At that point, you need to get out and pick a fight. You can't be waiting behind there, especially when your player is already outside, hanging for his dear life. But hey, even then, they still have money to work with because it was the bonus round. So this is where it starts getting interesting because now Bleed absolutely cannot afford any mistakes. If they make one in this round, especially, I think map 2 is done for.
I think it was also because DXN's flash actually hit so many of them that they just had to respect it. So I don't know what was happening there, but it just didn't really transition into the favor of Bleed. But you're absolutely right. They shouldn't have stayed that long. I think they were maybe hoping that that the Brim would have had more value than just that, but unfortunately not. The shots for Shun was so perfect. In any case, Bleed making a lot of waves on mid. I was surprised that Bryce didn't see that, but JH did. That was Bryce's one way. It'll work out in his favor. Vera now at least addressing outside of double doors here. There's still a bit of time for Bleed to think where they want to push. It seems like they do want to go aggressive right now onto B alley. Astra's still alive, but I don't know where the stars are going to be utilized to just delay things further. DXN delays a lot more. Love the use of those mollies, and he lines up like 4 of them. The trade does come in.
30 seconds left.
they're being pressed for time once again, and that spike is out in the open. They're going to have to retain it and then start pushing somewhere. Where is it going to be?
Well, at least now they know that Sean is playing pretty aggressive towards B main, and they haven't decided to go to B once again. It is still a 3-3. This is exactly what happened in the last round as well. The question is, have they learned their lesson this time around, though? The exact same scenario. They will break down that haunt as well. Crazy Guy finding the first pick this time around. They will not let them walk in. Scary still just waiting. Sean trying his best to find that pick. He'll find the first one, needs to find the second as well, but Darion will not let that happen. It all comes down to Redco in a 1 versus 2. Can he pull it off? That is the question. He is slowly but surely sneaking up. But look at the timing on this. They might actually not expect this. Redco just going in. Hasn't been spotted yet. Knows exactly where the spike is. And once again, he's not been spotted. What in the world is going on?
Quick break.
Wow! Oh my goodness.
What a big brain read from Durian. Oh, that was massive from DXN. Like, his utility has just been so on point. If Scary didn't take that, that would have been just terrible for Bleed here. But look at that ring around the Rosie. I'm pretty sure Durian already knew where his opponent was, right? Because if Redco was in heaven, he needed to drop down. That would have meant that he either popped one shot to cover to smoke the sound of his dropping, or he was already at spawn and Durian was just hard reading the position, and you knew exactly where he was looking at. Crazy Guy playing inside the smoke. That's dangerous. Very dangerous. And speaking of which, he's expended his life. The rest of the attacker is actually marching towards A main here as Vera's still holding on. Maybe I think Louvre is reading that, you know, they could be just slow pushing on to B. But that's a Bleed now looking to charge in on the other side. Yo. What?
That is exactly what I was about to bring up. Redco was just chilling over there, but DXN will get spotted. He could have casually walked. Oh, almost connected that shot, but not quite there yet. We're trying his best to use it, trying his best to make the most of that tour de force, but JH will not miss those. He'll take down Bryce. And it all comes down to the chamber with the tour de force. I believe only has two bullets left because he's only used 3. But we'll take him down.
You know what? It's Durian just being an entry fragger. As long as he wasn't too far forward that his teammate couldn't get the refrag, it was fine. But I was like, gotta check your corners, man. Gotta check your corners. But I guess he was very much prepared about, or very much preoccupied about just looking at spawn, thinking that he could get a rotator in or catch a rotator off, right? So, makes sense.
Sense. It does make an I sound like Yoda for some reason, but Bryce, once again, just using that one way, right? That's so powerful. It's also so annoying, all these one ways to play against. But Vera, in the meantime, did try to get that initial pick, will not be able to connect it. Crazy Guy, once again, is stepping up. JH, so this time around, doesn't have a lot of HP to work with. But does have the null command, so he could potentially exploit it. You think he's going to use it?
Should be. I mean, that's technically a reset of the HP, right? Even if he gets knocked down, if they revive him, even if they don't, at least they do have the presence of the pulses from that suppression. So it works either way. Crazy Guy, though. Oh, DXN is deafened. Redco playing sneaky, but he can't really do too much. They're trying to at least get some value off of this, and look at how just far already deep Durian is, and he's not done. Do they know that Redco is just somewhere on secret? Now they find him. Now everybody knows from Bleed. They turn the back of things. Do we have the time to survive? Wait, hold on. There's like 3 versus 1, but JH is low. And if he plays this perfectly, he should be able to still win this fight. Look at these wallbacks just not hitting Redco. Just somehow the Matrix able to dodge the bullets. And he's playing this very patiently. And he could actually still win this, if at all. 5 HP. It's plenty if you're looking at just how low JH is and how quickly Scary could die to a headshot. But Redco, unfortunately, loses steam. That's going to be another round for Bleed.
8 to 10 now, getting closer and closer with every single round. But Yeah, that null command was crucial for KO to use because one, of course, it does take away from all the utility that the opposition could use, and of course, if you do get taken down and get resurrected again, then that's a reset of HP that he could have used. So, good use on the null command over there. But Louvre, now they do have the Nightfall along with the Cosmic Divide to work with, but is that going to be enough? That is the question. And Eugene, I believe, is using the same headphones that I'm using, which is quite nice.
Really?
Yeah. But I really like what Shun has, right? Look at it. It looks pretty cool. I'm assuming it sounds really good as well.
Yeah.
Hopefully someday. I don't think that's available in India though. That's a problem. I'm not quite sure.
I don't know what brand that is, but the look of it is something similar to what a lot of my audiophile friends like in like entry level sound listening hardware is. But you know what? I'm a simple guy.
Hardware.
Sound listening audiophile hardware, fine. All right. I was just trying to choose a different set of words just so that I don't keep repeating myself. For me, I'm a simple guy. I don't like headsets because it's too hot in the Philippines. Okay, so I don't want sweaty ears. So earphones are my babies. So there you go. All right.
Clip it and ship it. Somebody please clip this. Love it. Love you. All right. It's a lot of fun casting with you, man.
Oh yeah.
All these silly jokes that find their way into our conversation is just always wonderful. And it's also a nice change as well when you've been watching Valorant all day long for a week straight, right? But Redline, in the meantime, along with his teammate, is going to try and push up. I'm not sure if they have enough information to work with, but Louvre does not have a lot of money. All they have is sheriffs, and that's it. That's all they're going to have to work with.
Well, we've seen yesterday, or actually last week, right, during the India qualifiers for this tournament where even sheriffs can just deal massive damage. And since they haven't cleared anything and they're still pushing in, this could become deadly. One in the corner. But Redless just so deadly. Bryce, they're just looking for his general direction, baiting him. It sounds like a stinger, just like, I'm gonna keep pushing in. And speaking of pushing in, jumping up. Gets the kill. Oh, poor Vera.
Well, you know, anti-ecos, that's just South Asia, that's it. Because I've been seeing it for so long, right? But then again, you also have to give credit to the teams playing those rounds with sheriffs. I feel like sheriff is still like incredibly powerful if used correctly, right? But then again, it also does come down to the fact that is the opposition giving you any sort of leeway to work with. This round, I believe, is going to be the most crucial round for Louvre because this is make it or break it. They have all the ults available. That is what Bryce has decided to do to guarantee this round. Quite a bold move. Viper's Pit onto Art, denying control towards mid as well, so that's great. So this is when the opposition, this is when Bleed has to start getting creative. Do they still push in? Do they use the Orbital Strike? I'm not quite sure. They could use the Orbital Strike to flush him towards them and then just maybe start pushing in. But Darion just going in with the Prowler. It gets a pick on the Bryce. This is a massive problem.
Not sure what was going in the head of Bryce there. Why he just straight... Oh. No way. There's like 4 people in Redco's face in his reticle. And unfortunately, nobody connected him. It's so close right in front of him. Oh, that's a big mistake. The X10, though, holding the operator at the back of the side. Not spot. Oh, spotted. Misses the shot against Durian. Second one will not. And he keeps connecting those. Playing around the corner. Could deal so much massive damage. And unfortunately, he's been dealt with. 3 versus 1. And it's down to Vera once again.
30 seconds
Lots of
left.
operators for Louvre here, but it's not working. JH backs into the side, into the corner. The other weapon for Vera, just 1 headhunter bullet. And is this enough in a 3 versus 1?
Gets that shot. Scary gets taken down. He gets slapped into his next life. Vera can still pull this off if he does get the pick on the Crazy Guy. That is a win condition, but Crazy Guy isn't going to miss those with the sniper. But here's the thing, right? I forgot the name of the player that was playing. Yeah, DXN.
Yeah.
Misses the first shot. Repeats. Shouldn't have gotten the first kill in the first place. Managed to get the second as well. That could have changed the tide of this entire matchup. Might as well, you know,
Yeah.
push into the third map. But look, Bleed made it happen. They made sure that even though they lost 2 players, they get those trades right eventually. So sure, it worked out in the favor, but the fact that the XN got 2 picks from that position is unbelievable.
Absolutely. I think what was very threatening for DXN was if he got that 3rd pick. That would have really, really messed it up, I think, for Bleed. The 2 ones, I think, were just casualties of war where you're pushing into the site and, you know, he's still holding on. But absolutely amazing that he's hit those 2 shots. But macro-wise, if he hit that 3rd, that would have been such a big, big help because you saw how quickly Vera was able to deal with the one, just as I mentioned, with that one headhunter shot. And if it was able to just isolate that 2 versus 1 rather than 3 versus 1, that would, I think, would have been much, much better. Anyways, yeah, looks like it's a setup for Bleed here on A.
Definitely looks like it, but they don't have the null command available on A. That is a problem, so they can't even stop all the utility. But look at, oh my lord, where will get taken down most likely. He has been spotted, and so much utility, so much pressure on him. The Nightfall as well. I'm not quite sure if they needed to use it right now this early because they had all the information they needed on the A site, but they still want to guarantee the run. And I'm not quite sure what the spike plan is either, but once again, one more Nightfall coming in from the defenders, and this could be a massive, massive oversight coming in from Bleed because they made 2 mistakes in a row that they cannot afford.
They've used so much already. Durian tries to be just cheeky and try pushing in. Feels a little bit of a deja vu, as we did see Louvre bring back at least a round in.
10 seconds
That was
left.
so much commitment from both sides. This is what Louvre definitely do need. They get spotted. I think they're still going to go for the contact because they do have the money to go for it. And it's a shooting guy for Retla, but it's DXN that was at the better aim, or end of the aim of that scope.
Here's the thing, right? They got the first pick. I thought Bleed is definitely closing this out. They had the orbital strike to work with as well. They used the Nightfall to get any sort of information and guarantee the take. But I don't think that was necessary. They could have used it later on as well. Make sure, get the spike down, use it in the post plan, or maybe even while you're getting control of the site, not before, because once you got that pick, right, you had information towards backside, you had information towards art. The only information you might have not had was closed right in the cubby, which you could have cleared out regardless. So I'm actually still quite puzzled on what just happened over there, especially with the plant as well, when you know there are no smokes available. I'm just amazed at how that round went Lou's way.
Now this is where it gets a little bit pressure back onto Bleed. How far can they go now that Louvre might have found their second win in this second game? It's a big one as well because Lou's been losing a lot of these 2 stars on the A site. I think Shun might have been hearing a couple of those jump peaks. This haunt's gonna give a lot of information away. Look at how far. Okay, those pop shots. Oh my goodness, no! Shun unfortunately misses the beat. Null command forces him back. Redco finds a 1, 2. Could go for a 3rd. Redco's been amazing, but unfortunately, he's going to get shut. 3 versus 3. Attackers still somewhere trapped here. Durian reacts. And Retla immediately comes in for the swift retribution. Down to Vero we go. This smoke is fresh. And it's going to take him a long, long time before he has to wait for it to diminish. And JH was just so very much prepared for the swing out. That was so big. Oh, man. Losing Shun that early was a big, big blow.
Yeah, but these are the ults coming in, right? You can't really counter them, especially with the null command not allowing you to use any sort of utility. You had the orbital strike as well and the player walking in, which delayed falling back off that player. So he wanted to be... He wanted to get that 1 pick before he actually got taken out by the orbital strike, but unfortunately he couldn't do that. So that is where things started taking a turn for Bleed Esports. But this time around, look at the knife going in, trying to get that early information, which they won't have because Bleed was playing it really patiently. They knew they don't need to aggress. And for now, the wall has come up as well. So it's really interesting to see this wall, which allows them to sort of just push up the entire way. I'm not quite sure what the idea is because they will need Brim Smoke. So sure, they use the toxic screen to go in there, get all the cover they need, and Brim smokes. 1 smoke on top, 1 smoke on bottom. Take the site.
Right, but it's so awkward. They still haven't really cleared anything, to be honest. Oh, that's a big blade. Yeah, that stops the Star first, but that Haunt is so beautifully placed by Shun. Redco follows up with not one, but 2 headshots on that pistol of his, that hand cannon. And everybody from Bleed just exit out. Go already. We've already made the mistake. We tried to go in for what is a weird wall, as you mentioned, and just run all the way through A. Shun finds more. This combination of Shun and Redco, such a potent mix. All of the defenders stuck on the B side, but now they know that it's going to be a 2 versus 5. 3 of them should have weapons from the fallen players of Bleed. It's down to Durian and Retla, and Durian's playing far back. I think he's waiting. Of course, Louvre would be very much aware of his more than advanced forward position here.
Ready.
No, he's doing what is probably the most sensible thing to do. Gets both. Can he find the third as well? That is the question. Needs to find the third one. Does indeed find the third one. Cannot find the last player standing, but Ratla is in 1 versus 2. He knows exactly where one player is, but he is going to get spotted. The problem is he still finds one. Needs to stay alive. Can he stay alive for long enough? That is the question. Tapping the spike. Ratla, so much pressure on him. 11 to 11. Doesn't even have a lot of HP to work with. He has the Haunt available. Shun, but still wasting so much time. Oh my lord! Ratla gets taken down, but does he have enough time? Does he have enough time? I'm not quite sure if he has.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Oh my lord! I can't believe this. Bleed still managed to pull it back. 2 versus 4, and Louvre almost had it in their back, pushing it, or at least guaranteeing over time. But Darion with a wonderful, a masterful push towards the defender base. He did exactly what he had to do and over-delivered.
Over-delivered. Such a beautiful statement for what Durian has just done for Bleed here. But you gotta give it to Retla. Just ice in his veins to not flinch at that 2 versus 1 where he was getting pushed in one and just pop shot it through the other. But unfortunately there for Shun, he had so much utility as well, right? Like, he had a Prowler, he had the Haunt. He could have maybe pushed up onto Retla and just challenged rather than forcing Retla to do the same. Because the thing is, they could wallbang each other from that thin wall on Secret. So I don't know what's going on the head of him, or maybe he was just really focusing on the aim battle. But unfortunately for him, Retla played the delay game to an absolute perfect T. And unfortunately, at that point, again, just half a second from winning to losing that round.
Here's the thing, right? In 1 versus 1, you ideally don't want to get caught with your pants down holding utility. So I'm assuming that is what he thought. But look, you're right. They could have wall banged each other from that spot on, but you have to give it to Retla. Absolutely. Ice in his veins, no doubt about that. Played it so calmly. I don't think I could have ever, even in matchmaking in gold, right, played it that calmly. The amount of pressure on him, right? 11 to 11, 1v1, 30 points of health to work with. It's impeccable what he's done.
Just next level. Of course, we're still neck and neck at this, even though Louvre might not have the ideal weapons, excuse me. They just need 1 round. And you know that they can always convert. So, again, they do have this cheeky little wall here. All right, I'm pretty sure there's a reason as to why there's this cheeky wall, right? But I still have not really understood the use case of it. In any case, I love how the Stim Beacon actually buffs up the Prowler, so it's a much faster Prowler, right? Anyways, they're going to have to start pushing a little bit more forward. DXN is just at the edge of this smoke. And it seems like they want to push a lot farther in. They might not have to, because if Redco survives... No, Redco! Yeah, at least he was able to press the wall in, but Scary's going to be on heaven, putting up the pressure with the snake bites. JH not tapped whatsoever, and the last 3 players here for Louvre is going to be pushing in all the way through B Alley. Scary is being stopped, but of course he's just going to be a guardian of Vanguard at this point as they line up for JH and Durian. There's going to be the last one, and the series is going to be taken here by Bleed with another comeback in the second half.
This is so crucial, right? Scary just walking in and getting that pick was so important for them to guarantee this round. took away the Astra. That could have been so annoying. And of course, the threat of Scary being alive on Heaven was incredible. But Bleed, somehow or the other, with individual brilliance or prowess as a unit, managed to pull it back every single time. You saw that in the first map. You saw that in the second map as well. Somehow, they always managed to make it happen.
I have no words as to how they just keep bringing it back. It looked like it was already such a straight line for Louvre to push us into game 3, and then somewhere similar, if not the same to what we saw on Breeze, the second half just went heavily in the favor of Bleed. I'm not entirely sure what was the reason, but there was a point where Louvre just started to lose that luster that we saw that was so good from them. Maybe it was because they were playing a bit farther back. Maybe it was because Bleed was just so good at creating the pace, creating the tempo. But Louvre just definitely lost so many rounds in that second half that it really wasn't even funny to just think about it, because again, of just how strong the momentum build from Bleed are. And you got to give it to Bleed as well. Their ability, their mental capabilities just to hold on and not lose their stamina as that, lengthy game was progressing was just also a big reason, I think, to how they were able to win that particular game.
True. But I again, you had to give the Bleed, right? They had such a shaky start on Pearl, especially.
Yeah.
It's not easy to maintain your composure over there. So props to the team, props to the coach as well to making sure that the entire team sticks together and does not get carried away with this. But let's have a look at the map. MVP Darion with 281 ACS, 4 first bloods, and 25 kills, and Econ rating of 56. Econ not the best, but even then had so much impact towards making sure that his team walks away with the map and the match. So, congratulations to Bleed, but once again, it's a lesson for everybody out there that don't stop believing, don't stop pushing, especially when you're down and out, or at least everybody thinks you're down and out, but Bleed still made it happen.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not going to stop believing it, just got to hold on to that feeling, yeah. Streetlights and everything. But absolutely right, man. Durian just phenomenal, incredible, and absolutely confident with what he wanted to do. His reads, his lurks by himself, even as a chamber that doesn't have that TP out, you put a lot of pressure on yourself to make things like that happen. But when you're at that level that he's on, it just looks so smooth with what he does. He's going to be at the top of the board here with 25 kills. And that is, again, going to be that for Louvre, at least for this series. As I mentioned somewhere in this broadcast, that Louvre will have another shot at things in the lower bracket.
Well, they will, absolutely. But Bleed, once again, to all the fans who were watching. But while we talk about Bleed, right, you also have to hand it to Louvre, because they were already written off before the match began. Like you look at what the audience was thinking, you look at all these threads, right, on the internet, you look at what the audience has to say. It almost felt like Lou had no chance in this matchup, but then again, they came so close. 11-13 in both the games is no joke, and it literally comes down to one play or two here and there, and they could have actually beaten Bleed 2-0.
They definitely could have, but you know what? I'm excited to see what they can do to try to bring themselves back up and qualify for the main event, right? There is so much happening for Louvre here, and I am all up for it. I do believe that this roster was previously known as no-namers, and they got picked up by Louvre, which is amazing, because that was a roster, I believe, that was similar to what you were mentioning me. I forgot the South Asian team that you were describing before, but they were like a bunch of friends that just got in together and started competing, and it started working out for them. They were able to take down names of really high-profile players in the MYSG region, and now picking up Red Co is such a big boost for them, and you really do see the impact that he was able to do on that controller role as well. So definitely there's a lot of things that Louvre was doing good, just a bit of tweaks here and there, and I think they can really go deep into this tournament, again, especially coming in from that lower bracket.
Of course, but we do have the upper bracket semifinals happening tomorrow on stream as well. So make sure, ladies and gentlemen, you guys tune in. And of course, it was a lot of fun casting for all of you folks today. Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe, and keep your calendars marked for all the matches that are happening. But before we sign off, Asura, you have any closing words for the audience?
Yay! Southeast Asia! Let's go!
Wonderful matches today, ladies and gentlemen. Both these matches were a lot of fun to watch. We hope you had fun too. But until tomorrow, it is good night and goodbye.